What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
How are you?
Good
to see you. Outside
course.
the store.
I know.
Isn't it weird when you run into a comedian that you don't normally hang out with outside the store?
I mean, I would recognize you, but sometimes you'll meet someone that you met at a meeting, and then it's like at a Ralph's, and you can't place the context.
That's bad, especially if it's like an executive and they really like you to remember them.
Are you good at faking it?
Nope. Terrible.
What's your tell?
I just say I don't know. I'm sorry.
Do you
say
do
I'm
the
sorry.
thing where you go, it's good seeing you, instead of nice meeting you?
Nope. I've done nice meeting you, and they've go, we've met 5 times. And I go, shit.
I don't think people understand the volume of people that comedians, especially at your level, like come across every day.
Yeah.
Like how many shows we do, people come up to you afterwards and being like, oh, great set, blah, blah, blah. And how many meetings and generals.
Are you aware of Dunbar's number?
Oh, is that like how many number of people it's like 100 or something you can keep in your head?
They think it's I don't think it's an exact science, but I think they think it's somewhere around 150.
I believe it.
You got about 150 people in your head. And after that, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It makes sense, right? There's no way you can keep them all in there.
No.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but it's cool outside of the store, having a chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like you feel the most camaraderie with other comedians outside the store when you run into them at an airport.
I was just thinking about that. Every time I go to LAX, I'll bump into like someone, Joe Coy, or last time it was Bert Kreischer, and like Jesus Trejo were going to do, I think, Utah. It's just like a hub for all of us.
Yes.
So you'll see so many, because we're all just transients. We're here for the middle of the week, and then when the weekends come for the clubs, we're all going somewhere.
Yeah, like people that want to come to the store, Tuesday is like probably the best night.
And people don't understand why. Like, it's so stacked. Like, why is it you? Why is it Burr? Why is it Kreischer? Why is it Joey Diaz?
Yeah.
You're like, well, we're just biding time until the weekend. Right?
And practicing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the weird art forms that you can't practice alone. You have to use an audience.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Oh, for sure. And even like I'll be telling the same joke, and I won't really change the words, but it'll be like an inflection. It's almost like, I don't know, when a jazz musician or something like plays the note just a little differently. You ever notice that like a joke won't work? Maybe because I'm like making a meal out of this word. But if I kind of just like throw it away, now that fixes it. It's interesting to do it long enough where you realize it's like it's not the words sometimes. There's like a performance nuance to it to fix the joke. Yeah. Like it's on paper, it's the same joke.
You know what's really weird is that none of this shit is written anywhere. Like what we're talking about.
You know what the worst is? Like I did, like JFL, they're doing a taping out there for TV, and they're like, send us your transcript.
Ugh.
So that means you have to sit at a computer and like it takes the magic, like whatever your 7 minutes you want to do for the taping, they want you to sit on a Mac and open up Word and be like, how you guys doing? Or whatever, just like type it all out.
You need a better manager.
No, but the thing, like I didn't do it.
Good for you.
I just dodged it. I asked Aaliyah, because I used to do it in the past, and I was like, yo, they're asking me to write this out. It's taking all the fun and organic. Like I feel it would really hurt my performance if I literally wrote a transcript and I'm like a robot up there. And he was like, just don't do it. And I go, what happens? He's like, nothing happens. He's like, I've done it a million times. That just be dodgy.
It's some pencil pusher that doesn't make any sense.
I think they get,
well, they have power over people that don't have a name yet.
I think they have people above them breathing down their neck, and then shit rolls downhill. So then they keep on asking, like, where is it? Where is it?
Just change your number.
Yeah. Well, that's why I had like the reps kind of be a buffer, and I was very aloof, and like he's very busy.
Did they contact you at all? Was it direct to you?
The thing is, I would see them throughout the fest, and they're lovely people. I love these people, but
and they
like
would say, "Where's the
transcript?" Yeah. And I'd be like, no, I play the game a little better. I go, I'm not there yet. I'm not in your mother's pussy level yet. I still got to be like, I'm going to go back to the hotel room.
It's a funny thing to say.
In your mother's pussy.
Yeah. Where's the transcript?
You didn't check your mother's pussy? I swore that I faxed your mother's pussy has a fax machine. I faxed it to her.
Well, it should be in there.
Yeah.
You should go check.
Check around the corner. Yeah, so it's the worst having to type it out.
Well, it's also like Just for Laughs is a weird situation.
It's evolved, right?
Yes, it's a weird way of looking at it. It used to be very valuable for comedians.
Yeah.
Now it's very valuable for Just for Laughs because they have this enormous platform, and you go there, and everybody knows that all these great comedians are going to be there, and they make an enormous amount of money off the comedians. It used to be the comedians would go there because the industry would go there, and the whole key to the whole thing was development deals for sitcoms. And they tossed out so much money.
I always hear about the gold rush and the heyday of JFL and how deals are getting thrown out left and right and like lives were made.
Oh, lives were made.
I don't know that JFL.
But fake lives were made too. Like they ruined it. Like, because I have a theory about people who aren't comedians. Like they see people laughing at stuff and they see something's fun. They think it's funny. But a comedian can go, this is just tricks.
Yeah. Well, because the volume of comedy that we watch on a regular basis is so much. So we can discern, like Ian Edwards and I will talk about this sometimes. We're students of comedy. We watch a lot of comedy. People can get like a huge pop out of the room, but like Ian can cut through the bullshit and know that like, oh, that's a parlor trick. Or, so it's a different type of thing. But I think a lot of times, suits and everything, they just hear decibels or right place, right time. And they believe this lightning rod moment or whatever, this great set, is indicative of their entire comedic being instead of like a lucky roll.
Yeah. Do you ever hear, what is that guy's name? Was his name Chicken? Is that what his name was?
I always hear that as an example. Like I heard he blew the roof.
He was the guy that ended it all. Like literally. Because I think they gave him $500,000 or something crazy like that.
I kind of want to see this Chicken set. Like what was the set that just blew everyone's mind?
He was a handsome fella, and he was young, and he was very energetic, and they thought he was going to be the next Jim Carrey.
Did you see him around? Was he an LA guy?
No, I don't know where he was from, but I saw him at Just for Laughs. I saw him quite a few times, and he was a nice guy, but he was terrible. I mean, in the way that like it was just a bunch of blah, but there was no substance to it. There was no thought to it. So they tried to put it together. They tried to make like a development deal, and he did a little touring, but it all went south and it fell apart. He eventually committed suicide.
Do you know how many years he was doing it?
He hung himself in front of a school.
A school?
Yeah, that's what I had heard. Like he hung himself on a tree in front of a school.
Jeez.
This is his last piece of performance art. I don't know if that's true. See, the thing is, like, I shouldn't even say it on a podcast that millions of people are going to listen to, but I did.
But the hanging part is right?
Yes, okay. He definitely committed suicide. It's one of those things, man, where like if it didn't work out and he didn't develop, he never became like a legit comedian. But thing all right over there, Jamie?
Yeah, I think if that had happened and he actually had, I don't know, the equity of a stand-up comedian and been doing it for long enough.
Yes.
That would be like a bump in the road, but you can come back from that.
Oh, yeah.
If that's just sort of like your lotto ticket, then that's why it was so drastic, I think.
Well, some people are just not, they're great comics, but they're not really into acting. They're not the best at acting, and they got kind of forced into acting.
Yeah. I love Mitch Hedberg's joke where he's like, he's a great stand-up, and it's like, they'll come up to me and they'll be like, can you act? He's like, that's like going up to a chef and being like, can you farm?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'm butchering it, but they're such different things.
But it's you have an agent, right? And the agent wants to make money, so it's an avenue for cash.
Yeah.
And you look at Seinfeld and Tim Allen and Roseanne and Brett Butler, and there was all these comedians in the '90s that had made a ass load of money doing sitcoms.
Well, that's the quicker payoff too. I even noticed it with my own career. Like when I was a younger comedian out here in my early 20s, when I moved from Seattle, like when I first got reps and stuff, I was going out on these auditions for like CW shows or just whatever. They just throw you against the wall. You're an actor. Comedy is this thing you do at night.
Right.
They don't even really give a shit that you do stand-up. They probably don't even think you're funny. Yeah. It's just a cute thing you do. It's like a kid, like a dance recital or something. Like they don't care as long as you're going to these auditions in the daytime. So they just hope that you hit on like a series regular.
Yeah.
And then that's some cash flow for the biz.
Oh, yeah.
But luckily, I mean, I don't know. I think your successes are carved by your failures. So I'm kind of fortunate that I would get some acting things here and there, but never anything substantial enough to take me away from stand-up.
Well, never anything substantial. The worst is when they tell you to stop doing stand-up because it's messing with your acting role. Like that's what they did to Tim Allen.
Oh, really? Yeah,
because his acting, he was on Home Improvement. It was a gigantic hit. They were making gazillions of dollars. But he was I don't want to say he was a blue comedian, but some of it was a little risque.
So how did Saget deal with it?
He stopped doing stand-up.
Oh, okay. So he stopped.
Dude, Saget stopped doing stand-up forever. He really didn't start doing it again until after that show was done. What the fuck was that show again?
Full House.
Full House.
Yeah.
Yeah. He stopped doing it for a long time. And then kind of drifted his way back in, and now he does it regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's, maybe they did that at the time, but it's almost detrimental to let go. Because stand-up is your car. Mm-hmm. Like, it's your business. You're in control over it. And the TV stuff, it's like one hand washes the other. If you let that go, you're letting go of this revenue stream so that when the acting gig is over, you're kind of fucked because this wasn't like building along with it.
It also was a point of confidence where you understand what's funny and what isn't. Like, you know how to be funny because you're funny in front of a live audience
and
all the time.
Yeah, like you're at the store.
You have to be
you're
there
so
all the
much.
time.
Like you're there more than someone at your level. You would expect someone at your level to be at.
You have to be there. You can't slack off. Everyone knows those really famous guys that slacked off and started to suck.
Uh-huh.
And the good thing is nowadays, the cycle of comedy, we all do a special basically every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much all of us. Burr, Kreischer, Segura, Ari, everybody kind of does a special or tries to do a special somewhere around every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So every 2 years, you throw it all out and you're a beginner again.
Yeah.
You have no fucking act. You're terrified. You have to come up with new premises and scramble, and that requires a lot of performing.
Yeah. I like how Burr was on here talking about it. It was cool to hear a guy like him even talk about just the dilution of specials where he's like, they're not special anymore. Yeah. It's just like a flyer or like a brochure, name, right? A brochure that I'm still around.
Yes.
That's all it is.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's different degrees of polish with some of the specials and how great some of them are, but there's so many now.
It's a weird name.
Special.
Yeah.
Well, it's just leftover from yesteryear. It's like, why are albums a certain length? Because of the...
Yeah, but at least an album is like a collection of music that is all in one thing that you get that's kind of been consistent forever. A special, it's like, what is it anymore?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
I guess 45 minutes to an hour of jokes strung together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To let everybody know. But it's also like an album. Like if you go to see Fleetwood Mac, I don't know why the fuck I came up with Fleetwood Mac right there.
Yeah, I like Fleetwood Mac.
I do too.
Yeah.
But you're expecting the hits. Whereas a comic, you're expecting the shit that's not on the special. You're expecting all new stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting. Sometimes you'll get them where they're like, that's a very rare type of act, though.
That's like Gaffigan gets that for sure because he's got some classic bits. And I think that also happens with Russell Peters. I think he gets some requests for classic bits.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever get that?
No. They do. I don't know how to do them anymore.
Oh, I know. I purge them. I barely know.
Yeah. Someone was yelling out Bruce Jenner the other day. I was like, I can't do that bit. I don't know how to do it. I'll fuck it up.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want it. You don't want me to do a sad version.
Of just like what you could remember.
Where I forget the taglines. Oh, let me do it again. Let me start again.
Yeah, redo, guys.
I fucked up, guys.
Remember how much fun you were having?
Yeah.
Let's go back to one.
So you are one of the rare comedians that doesn't smoke pot.
Yeah, I guess so.
We talked about that.
And it's kind of interesting, especially being in this industry, not taking advantage of that because it's all, especially the store. Like you'll do a show and they're like, hey, do you want these 3 pillowcases of weed and CBD oil? And you're like,
you don't take the CBD oil either?
I haven't done, like, is it good?
It's great for you.
What would I use it for?
It's great for anxiety. It's great for, it reduces inflammation. It's great for, a lot of people use it for sleep. It's just good for you. It's like, it's a nutrient. You know, it's like it's healthy for you.
Yeah, it's hot right now.
It's very hot.
Oh, if I was in the biz, I'd be like, get CBD on the phone.
Love CBD.
I love what CBD's doing.
Love it.
BD, how you doing?
Yeah.
Canola's out. CBD.
Yeah, canola is bullshit. That stuff's bad for you.
Can you cook with CBD?
That's a good question. I bet you can't. I would imagine it has a low flash point. Like it would burn quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's find out.
I think it's usually mixed with coconut oil.
I think the people...
Coconut oil has a high flash point.
Yeah.
Wait, doesn't grapeseed oil have a low...
Grapeseed oil, I think, has a high flash point, too. I think it's good to cook with.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so it takes longer for it to...
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a high temperature high before it smokes.
Mm-hmm. Some people said they've cooked with it. So
yeah, fucking burnouts, stoners, bunch of losers. I bet they stink.
Yeah.
There's some people that do everything with weed, and they need to just stop.
Where's the hemp people? I feel like you don't hear from them as much anymore.
Yeah, they're in
hemp
wait.
Like
they're laying in wait.
Yeah, was that like the back door? Like, since hemp is cool, like what about...
Well, CBD is for grandma. That's how you get people to vote for it, because grandma and grandpa use it, and it helps their joints.
Right.
And they're like, well, I'll tell you what, this CBD, I mean, it's not doing anything for my brain. I'm not getting high, but my joints never felt better. I feel amazing with the CBD, and I'm going to vote for it. And I really want to get a hold of Trump and let him know.
That's not bad.
CBD is... It really is.
What is his region from?
The guy?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's random old guy from the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
CBD is what has revolutionized nutrition and really affected my life in a very positive way.
I think
I feel like he's a little south, maybe Maryland, maybe somewhere outskirts of Baltimore.
People don't know you have that gear, or you forget. Like, you do voices really well.
I don't have that many, though. I can only do a few.
Are you the type, though, where if you're doing a bit and you need this person to talk or whatever, you'll figure it out?
Yeah, I can get a few. There's a few voices I can get out. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're Alex Jones and like.
But I know Alex so well. I've known Alex for like more than 20 years, so it's
that's just easy.
Yeah, I've hung out with that guy. We've been hammered together so many times. It's like that is the most misunderstood guy on the planet. He just needs somebody next to him. That's what he needs. Someone to go, Alex, let's slow down. Like you had a really good point there, but
or you just need a manager who's always with him.
He even agreed with me. We talked about it. I said, you just need like a rational journalist who's next to you to like. He goes, you're right. I do need that. And I go, you need someone who just
even
balances it out. Look, he was right about all this Jeffrey Epstein shit. That is a fucking fact. Alex Jones called this years ago. He was saying that they take a lot of famous people to this island and they have all these young girls that this guy hooks them up with. He was talking about this years ago. Now it is mainstream news.
And this human hybrid experiments
going
on.
Yes.
Which sounded like a complete joke when he
brought it up. We were like, what? Now it's fucking mainstream news. This is a fact, man. Like, people want to write that guy off because he'll tell you he's crazy. He'll let you know he's crazy. I mean, on my show, there was one of the funniest things he ever said. He's like, look, I want to be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded. And I fell to the ground laughing. But that's who he really is, man. People just have him lumped in, It's like some people, they don't represent the best aspects of themselves right to people. And then other people try to define them. Like, people try to define you. It's really one of the things that is really kind of weird about the more famous you get, the more people try to define you in a way that's detrimental or a way that's dismissive and limiting.
Yeah.
Like, I've noticed that after this Bernie Sanders thing that I did. So anybody listening to this, if you're saying this, I am not right wing at all. So stop saying that. It's silly. It's foolish. I've interviewed right wing people. I am 100% left wing. The only thing that stops me from the only things that I disagree with about left wing people is support for the military, support for police, and the Second Amendment. That's probably it. Everything else across the board, I lean way left. In terms of, like, Bernie Sanders made a ton of sense to me, and I would 100% vote for him. Tulsi Gabbard is my favorite. I mean, I'm not a right-wing person. So this nonsense, like, so many people were saying that, that Bernie Sanders spent this time on a right-wing podcast. I'm like, what are you saying?
Sure. And don't you think he weighed the pros and cons of, like, it was an opportunity for him, and I think everyone thought it was a win as well.
I don't think he had any idea who I was.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was one of his young staff members who's friends with Kyle Kalinske, who is a really good left-wing progressive talk show guy on YouTube. And Kyle hooked it all up. And this idea that, it's bad for someone to talk to people. It's foolish.
Yeah.
There's a weird thing that's going on right now.
I thought it was a great platform for him to, like, get his ideas out there and to be heard in something other than just sound bites.
Yes.
That could be taken out of context.
It's a great platform, I think, for anyone who's running for anything to have a long-form conversation. And it's good for us, too, because we get to find out who they really are. You really can't hide in a long conversation.
Oh, yeah, 3 hours?
Yeah.
You can't,
I only did an
talk
hour
important.
and 10 with Bernie. That's all he had because, the guy's he's legit running for president. Like, he could be president.
Right.
He's not like, like, there's some people that are running for president. They're like, all right, bro. Like, what is that guy, Zoltan? What is his name? He was the guy who was running the transhumanist platform. Istvan. How do you say his last name? Very nice guy. Sorry, I forgot his name.
For this coming
No,
out?
it was the last one. It was 2016 and we had him on. But, you know, it was like one of those guys who are like, all right.
Sure, why
like
not?
Ben Glebe. You're like, all right, good luck.
You think Ben's going to win?
Oh, I do.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to respect the swing. That's what's great about this country, you know? Like
the swing?
The
What do you
swing.
mean? What are you talking about?
Look, you could run for president. No, not that swing.
kind?
Just like...
Anybody could run for president?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I
it sounds
do.
far-fetched, like, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, you've got to be crazy enough to think you can be you.
Well, look, anything can and will happen when it comes to being president. Like, people get assassinated, people get exposed as being a criminal. Like, look, do you remember when Michael Avenatti was the hero of the left?
yeah,
The Democratic
yeah.
Party was like, he's the guy that's going to run against Donald Trump, and he's going to take him down because he's tough, and he's this, and he's that, and Michael Avenatti. I mean, there's a compilation of left-wing pundits talking about the hero that is Michael Avenatti. You don't hear a fucking word from that guy anymore. So if you were in a time capsule, right, a year ago when everyone was Michael Avenatti crazy, and they just zoop, and then they woke you up, Fahim, it's 12 months later, and you'd be like looking at the news, hey, where's
our guy?
Avenatti? I mean,
That happens on
went
both
all
sides.
in.
They'll have their champion, and then this other shit, you know?
Yes.
D or R, there's always, they ascend, and then there's some like dark shit from the past, and then you don't see them anymore.
But then there's guys that you know, like one of the things that I was getting at during the Trump campaign when he's running for president the first time was like, this guy's not going away. Like, this is not going away. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows how to
When
fuck
did you
with
know?
people.
Like, how early in the campaign did you kind of realize?
I don't know, man, but
Also, do you feel like you had a better read on it just doing stand-up across the country? Because I feel like you can be in a
Yes.
bubble, you could be in New York and LA and just be like, oh, it's never going to happen. This is ridiculous. But doing
Yes.
stand-up in some red states, you kind of, you're with the people, you're doing jokes, and like you get the temperature of an audience more so than someone who just has like a desk job.
For sure, but also I have a lot of right-wing friends, especially from the hunting world. I have a lot of friends that live in I have friends that live in Iowa and Oregon, and they have a lot of right-wing friends too. And there's a whole part of the country that the big cities, New York and Los Angeles, and the big Democratic-leaning cities, they were all dismissing. The Democrats thought that Hillary was the most experienced and Trump was a buffoon, and that grab her by the pussy tape, that was it. We got it. It's in the bag. Mm-hmm. They all believed that. But the middle of the country did not believe in her. They didn't trust her. They thought she was some sleazy politician who's been involved in the business forever, and she licks her finger and figures out which way the wind's blowing, and that's what she says. And that they thought that Trump was a straight shooter, and he's going to drain that swamp, and he's going to do this and bring jobs back, and he's talking about clean coal.
Yeah.
And,
it's almost like I think he was just so outside of the system, that it seemed that he could have done anything. Just like we want someone to throw a wrench into it.
Yes, that's it. There's a lot of people that just wanted a wrench thrown into it, and he definitely threw a wrench into it. And I think ultimately that's going to be good for the left as well, because they're going to realize that you can't just get away with that same stupid old school politician style of doing it anymore.
I think he's just blowing up the playbook. Even
Yes.
like Bernie calling Trump, was it stupid or an idiot in a post or something? Like,
amazing.
This is a new paradigm.
Yes.
Like they're taking pages out of what worked for Trump.
Yeah.
Like, look, we've got to take some bully tactics. And then even Moscow Mitch, I'm like, oh, they get it. Mm-hmm. Nicknames are the only thing that stick.
Yeah.
Yelling at the rally, like, Moscow Mitch. Like, this is part of the playbook now.
Sleepy Joe Biden.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
People, as evolved as we like to think that we get as adults, when it comes to politics, it goes back to grade school. The only thing that seems to be effective is yelling Moscow Mitch or, Sleepy Joe Biden or Pocahontas.
Yep.
These are like stand-up rules. It's just like Rickles. Yeah, it's so interesting.
And my favorite about the Pocahontas one was when people were saying that he's racist for calling Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas. It's a Disney movie. You can't go that far.
Yeah, if someone called me Aladdin, I'd be juiced. Aladdin's cool. He has a pet monkey.
Guy. Yeah, man.
He eats apples.
Yes. Did you see the most recent one?
I did.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Got bad reviews. I didn't understand it. People didn't
what were
like
they expecting?
What they did, they felt. What I read was that Will Smith modernized it too much.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Like, I prefer a classic genie.
Oh, he used modern urban vernacular.
Yeah.
And they just weren't uncomfortable with that.
You remember how the first photos came out of Will Smith as a genie. I love how little it takes to whip this nation into a frenzy. Like, I'll wake up and open up Twitter, and then the Will Smith genie, everyone is freaking out over that. And it's crazy how we put them on the same pedestal, like some sort of Trump scandal or like Pedophile Island, and then the blue genie or Sonic looks weird.
Right.
Sonic the Hedgehog looks weird.
They changed
and
Sonic.
both take on the same amount of fervor online.
Yeah, same amount of psychic energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest gaffes, biggest mistakes ever was Ben Affleck thinking he could be Batman. If Ben Affleck never ran for Batman, he would have 50% less hate.
You think?
Yes.
Aren't there some people who liked, or no?
There's no one who liked Ben Affleck as Batman. Even Ben Affleck didn't like himself as Batman.
No.
When was the last time you heard anybody talk about Ben Affleck as Batman? Ready, go.
Yeah.
No one. Christian Bale's Batman, motherfucker.
Sure.
Even Michael Keaton's Batman, but he's old.
That's so hard, though. Like, you're not going to hit a home run with Batman every time.
But everybody who does it and fails, their career hits a ditch.
Who do you think? All right, do you think? Okay, Kilmer leveled up or no from Batman?
Well, Kilmer did it once, and he did a good job, but then he decided to get fat. He's like, fuck this business. He went crazy. Is he in the Top Gun movie, the new one?
I hope so.
I do too.
That'd be great.
But the lady's not in it. The girlfriend, the really hot blonde.
Yeah.
What was her name? Kelly something or another. McGillis? Is that it? Yeah, she was beautiful back in the day. I think she might have gone the Val Kilmer route, if you know what I'm saying.
What about Clooney?
Look at that. Clooney
He's
was
fine.
like a comedic.
He's selling Nespresso and tequila.
It was Nespresso. His was like a comedic take. Arnold Schwarzenegger made way more money than George Clooney in that movie.
Oh, like me and my buddies, we have a thing. We just say "cool party," like we just say it to each other, no matter what party we're at.
What is that? Alicia Silverstone?
Yeah,
she was in that.
Yeah, she's
and Chris O'Donnell.
Yep.
What? Why did I forget about that? He was Robin. Yeah. Now he's on a TV show with LL Cool J.
What is that one? Is that it's like a NCIS or something?
That is something that the same people who talk like that guy was making fun of. That's what they DVR that.
Oh,
that's a wonderful show. LL
like once you get to
Cool J.
certain parts of the country, isn't it interesting to find out what their favorite shows are?
Yeah. That's where all those NCIS shows. That's where they get all their millions of views.
For sure.
That's a wonderful show. Chris does a great job, and he just pairs well with LL Cool J, he's a little aggressive to me. I mean, he's all right. He's a good fella, I guess. But I really love Chris. I wish we'd get more work. We should bring him back to the movies. I think he'd be an excellent Captain Kirk. He could be Captain Kirk.
Also, like I'll go to my aunt's house and that's just playing all the time.
Yes.
Like Burn Notice. I mean, that's not even on anymore, but like these USA shows.
Yeah, Jag. Remember Jag?
Oh my God, Jag.
Yeah, reruns of Jag.
My brother.
My show's on. Jag. Love it.
And the thing is, like, we can laugh about these shows, but they're like 20 seasons? Jag was on for 20 seasons?
Well, we were just going over Survivor the other day. Survivor was on when Fear Factor debuted. It was already on the air. And that Fear Factor came out in 2001 or 2, somewhere around right after September 11th. I remember that because I remember being asked questions like, was it appropriate to have a show about fear after September 11th?
Oh, my God.
Some guy asked me that. I literally wanted to climb through the phone and strangle them. I'm like, you fucking bitch.
What was your answer, though? Was it?
Like, that's nonsense.
What if you walked it back?
Show, stupid?
You're like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that fear would play such a factor.
For you. But so Survivor's been on... What did we say it was? 28,000 seasons?
I was like on the 39th, I believe.
39th season.
It's still going?
Yes. You didn't even know.
No.
I think The Amazing Race is still going, too. Did you remember that show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
CBS is killing it.
Yes.
That one won the award every year for the Emmys, like best show or best game show, whatever, reality. I don't know what
it
is, but yeah. Wow. 12 times in a row or something.
Crazy. Yeah.
Did you like Fear Factor more than... Because I remember I loved News Radio. Like, it was one of my favorite shows. So did you enjoy that more, or Fear Factor? Are there different things?
They're definitely different things. I enjoyed the paycheck from Fear Factor far more. I liked working without actors, but I loved News Radio way more. News Radio was just a far better show. So it was a really good show.
Well, they're different things. They're very different animals.
It ruined me. It's like going from the Comedy Store to Uncle Fuckstick's Chuckle Hut on a Monday night. You know, it's like every other sitcom that I looked at, every other sitcom that I read for or that I got scripts for, rather, I was like, oof, this is just not good stuff.
Isn't it interesting when you get sides, like just sides, or just like one scene or two scenes for a show, and you could tell it's good just from that?
Oh, yeah.
That's so rare.
It is rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. When someone's a good writer. Good sitcom writing is hard to do, man. That is a really hard gig. I mean, but then some people have bad sitcom writing, but they know how to make a bad successful sitcom. Like there's bad successful sitcoms that last forever. They're just unoffensive enough to stay on the air and keep you watching with your mouth slack. Like,
Yeah. I mean, formulas exist for a reason.
Those Big Bang kids, they're so clever with their writing. That's what keeps me tuned in. I'm waiting for the vocabulary lesson.
Does this guy ever shut off CBS?
No.
Or does he just keep it on the whole time?
I tried Fox, but they're too hostile.
Did you know that your TV has other channels, sir?
What?
Yeah, there's other channels, other programming you could watch.
Well, when they took Bill O'Reilly off the air, I said CBS is my channel. That's my channel now.
Yeah. You ever been in an audition and it's terrible, but everyone goes through the motions where everyone's just like cracking up like it's
the
greatest
nonsense.
show on earth.
Yeah.
Like it's Def Jam, like because the writers and the directors are in the room, and it's like
They fake laugh to get everybody excited.
Yeah, they have to, because I think they need this rocket fuel to get this project off the ground.
Yes.
And they need to give the writer confidence. They have to give the director confidence.
Yeah.
They have to give the studio people confidence that it's all good.
It's a fake moment, the fake laugh. It's gross.
And the thing is, though, like, it's also not only is it gross, though, but it's the 30th time. There's just there's 30 people in the waiting room, and they're laughing like it's the first time.
They're faking it left and right, up and down.
And we know fake laughs.
Ooh, we do know
on.
fake laughs. It's offensive.
Yeah.
Someone's fake laughing at you, it's almost worse than
Sure.
not laughing. It is worse than not laughing
Yeah.
at all. If you say a joke and they're like, ha ha ha,
Oh, you're like, get him out of here.
get out of here, you bad person.
Yeah.
You.
It's the quickest way to heckle, though, right? Just like, ha, ha.
Like, no one can say anything.
When
Yeah.
I'm laughing,
Yeah.
it's like the Fredo thing. No, I thought your name was Fredo.
That
You know
Fredo,
Fredo?
thing.
Dude, I was talking to my buddy. I thought that you were Fredo.
Did you see that?
Yeah, of course.
Did you see it, Jamie? That Chris Cuomo guy. So Donald Trump had the best line today. Donald Trump won the internet today with this. He said, "Should we red flag Chris Cuomo because he seemed unhinged? He was using terrible language. Should not have a gun." He basically exposed those red flag laws. Because, like, you see a guy like that, he's irrational. That guy's irrational. He goes, "I'll wreck your shit. I'll throw you down a flight of stairs."
I like the stairs comment. I enjoyed that.
Like, what is he talking about? Because the guy called you Fredo, and he was
I
saying that
didn't
Fredo is the same
know-
thing as the N-word.
I didn't know Fredo was derogatory, or maybe I'm new to it. Not that I would ever try to call someone Fredo. Sometimes, you know.
It's not. It's a fucking character in a movie. It's like Aladdin.
Is it like there's no, like, I don't know.
Cultural context?
Yeah.
I'm Italian. There's no cultural context for Fredo where people are like, "What the fuck did you say?" It doesn't exist.
Sure.
It does not exist.
Right.
Well, you could say it for someone who's a traitor, but why? That doesn't even make sense with Chris Cuomo. It's just a loser in a movie.
Sure. Well, I guess
It's
you know what he's trying to do. I mean, obviously he's trying to insult him.
Yes.
Even if there is no history of this word existing for, I'm ignorant. I don't know if it does exist or not. But, like, this guy's trying to take shots.
It's certainly not a compliment.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's a loser in a movie. It's a brother that always fell short, and he turned on his own brother, who was the Godfather.
What if
because he wanted to be the Godfather?
What if he explained this insult to Chris Cuomo?
That would be great.
He goes, Fredo was a weak Italian in the movie, and I'm
feel like-
referencing your character.
Yes, you are the son of a great man because he's Mario Cuomo's son, and you probably, let's be honest about why you're here.
Yeah.
The name is familiar, and it helps.
Yeah.
But it's that Italian energy that, like, and again, these are my people.
Yeah.
These are my
You full
people.
Italian?
No,
Okay.
3/4 though. But these people that react that way are common. It's like, what? What the fuck did you say to me? I'll fucking wreck your shit.
Yeah.
But you're not supposed to be a respected political pundit and behave like that. That is nonsense.
Yeah.
That's nonsense. That's nonsense. It's a silly way to behave. It's silly. That guy needs to work out
You gotta
more,
be extra.
but he works out a lot.
It's tough. It's tough when
Might be on too much testosterone. Someone need to take him to tell your doctor, just pare you down a little bit. Take whatever you're at, just drop it by half. Settle down, bro. or just work out really hard before you go outside. Do some yoga, meditate.
I like when those, because LA's pretty passive town for the most part. You'll get some of those, you'll get like an East Coast guy. You're like, oh shit, who's this guy? You know what I mean?
Long Island.
Yeah. Like visiting from out of town. Like, whoa, no one.
Hey, Fredo.
Yeah, we don't actually fight here. We just
go get my shine
big.
box. Yeah, it was a very embarrassing moment, but I think it's a very important moment. Look at him. First of all, he is Fredo for life now. I hope he understands that. He's Fredo for life.
Unless you want to get tossed down a flight of stairs.
He ain't tossing anybody down a flight of stairs. That's nonsense. He doesn't want to get sued. He's not going to do that. He's not going to touch somebody.
He'll hire someone.
He's not going to do that.
Down a flight of stairs.
He's not doing shit. Not doing a goddamn thing. That's one of the reasons why it's so funny. He's not doing nothing. That is Fredo. You'll never get away from that now. You better embrace that shit. You better start selling Fredo t-shirts with your face on it. Listen, CNN's probably going to fire him, I would imagine.
No, I think they're standing behind him.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they really? Yeah. For now.
I think they felt like he was attacked or unprovoked.
What?
And
by someone calling him Fredo?
Yeah, man, those are fighting words, dude. If someone called me Fredo, I'm not even Italian, I'd snap. I go, how dare you?
He's a silly man. That's what exposes him, is that he's a silly man. It wasn't like someone was being equally aggressive to him and he was defending himself. Sometimes, like, if you're in a situation where someone's very aggressive to you, you almost have to be aggressive back just to let them know, hey, I'll go there with you.
Yeah.
We could go to a dark place right now, and, you know, I'm not going to let you hit me. I'm not going to let you do something to me. If you think that I'm a pushover, you know, I'm here to defend myself. But that wasn't that way. Like, someone was mocking him, and he turned violent.
I think it was a little bit of a honeypot situation where he just wanted to get a rise, and he was recording from down low. They wanted him to do something. They really...
Chris Cuomo, this is CNN. CNN's lost their fucking mind. Chris Cuomo defended himself when he was verbally attacked with the use of an ethnic slur in an orchestrated setup, the spokesperson said. We completely support him. For now, listen to me. This is not done.
Oh, yeah.
This is not done. This is just beginning to take on a form of its own. You can't say that's an ethnic slur. That is a fucking character in a movie.
Yeah, it was news to me. I was like,
it's not an
fuck.
ethnic slur. And him saying that that's like calling it the N-word, that is so preposterous. That is so offensively stupid.
Do you ever get that, like people trying to take shots or get you to slip or something?
Most people are nice.
Yeah, for the most part.
I've had guys say goofy shit to me, and I try to say goofy shit back to them.
Like at shows or just on the street or what?
Just in both things. But I'm not a hostile person.
Yeah,
I look hostile.
Yeah,
but I'm not hostile. Like I'm nice for the most part. I've had people get dicky with me.
And then what do? How do you handle it?
Just get dicky back.
Just like,
yeah,
you see, I'll throw you down a flight of stairs.
I don't say that. It's not. It never escalates to that. It's like some people get weird. You know what gets weird? The fucking autograph people at the airport.
How do they know, man? How do they like? Would you be surprised sometimes?
Tell somebody off. Somebody pays somebody off.
What do you do? Do you sign or do you just keep walking?
I tell them I'll sign one. I'll sign one. They get mad at me. I got a stock of these. I go, no, I'm not working for you.
Yeah.
Not working for you. Like, there's people that charge people. They'll go to those conventions and they'll sit at a booth and they'll charge someone X amount of dollars, like it's like $20 or more for an autograph photo. I don't do that. I'm not going to do that ever. So I don't even want you selling my picture. I don't want it to be sold.
Yeah.
I don't want my autograph to be valuable. But if I thought someone was really a fan and they wanted me to sign something,
that's different.
Yes, I would sign something for them. I'd be happy to.
Instead of like a 40-year-old guy with a ponytail
if you
and
have
a
stack of fucking photos of me in various, you're selling those.
Yeah.
I know you're selling those. So one guy got mad at me. And he was like following me around LAX. I was like, dude, I'm not signing anymore. He's like, next time I see you, okay? I'm like, I'm not signing.
But you know, by
anymore.
signing one of them, you're making it very valuable.
If
you sign the whole stack,
that's fine. I'm not going to be rude. I'm not going to be rude. So I'm just trying to, like, look, I'll sign one, and I tell them that. Like, I got a bunch of them in Portland this weekend. There was like 10 people met me at the airport.
Yeah.
I said, I'll sign one.
I think one is good.
But I ran into a guy in Philadelphia that got mad. He tried to get me to sign another one. I go, I'm not signing that. And he goes, you fucking forget your fans. I go, you're not a fan. I go, you're selling these.
Yeah.
He goes, what, you think they're worth a lot? I go, if they're, why are you
here?
Oh my God,
this is like some weird mental gymnastics. Like,
just
you
a
think you better?
He goes, they're like, your fucking autograph's worth about $6.95. I go, and you're a mooch. I go, you over here trying to get me to work for you. I go get a job. And so we had this like weird conversation. Like, what are you saying? You want me to sign these so you could sell them, but you're saying they're not worth anything, so I'm a loser. But you're meeting me at the airport to try to get me to sell things, to sign things.
You looked up my flight.
It's so silly. It's so silly. But I just don't like the idea of it because primarily, I don't like the idea that there's some weird loophole where someone can get you to work for them. They're just showing up, and here, sign these real quick, and I'm going to sell them. Because you're asking someone to work for you, even if it only takes 5 minutes.
Or they're taking something from you.
One guy had 30 pictures. He had 30. I go, how many you got there? He goes, 30. I go, you out of your fucking mind?
How funny would it be if you just
How long is it going to take?
If you sat at a Starbucks and you just did them all?
Ugh.
You're like, hold on, family. I'm just going to get through these.
The UFC makes fighters do that. They sit down, and but they give them out to fans, and they do stuff with them.
They're promotional material. Yes, it's not one guy who's trying to...
And everybody signs them. Like, all the fighters in the card sign them, and they're valuable to fans. As a fan, like, I have a signed poster out there from Efren Reyes that I purchased, and Efren Reyes is like the world's greatest pool player. I love pool, and he's this Filipino wizard. They call him the Wizard. He's an amazing pool player. So I bought it like it was signed by Efren Reyes. I got so excited. But I would never ask Efren to sign something and then sell it.
You're going to track him down to the airport?
Yeah, someone at the promotion for the tournament, they probably got him to sign a bunch of them. They sold them, and it probably helped offset the costs and things along those lines. But there's just the autograph collector is a different animal than the autograph seller. So if you're a person that is just like, I love Fahim's comedy, he's really funny, I want to go to the comedy store and see if I get him to sign something for me. That's a fan.
For sure.
But if you have 30 of them, you're going to go on eBay and you're going to try to make $50. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to make $50. I'm just going to tell you right now.
They might if they hold on to it.
Sit on.
Dude, you're a funny guy.
Well, that's nice.
You have a lot of talent.
What have you seen? I'm always surprised because like I came to the store. I always see you at the store, and you're like, oh man, your videos are funny, and like I don't know what you watch. You're just like on this other level. I don't think it even reaches you.
No, that's nonsense. That other level thing is a complete total illusion.
I'm here
to tell everybody.
Yes and no, because you are a rarity. I think of the comedians at the store who have gotten to a certain point where you kind of have a relationship with everyone at the Comedy Store, from the door guy to the waitresses to like stand-ups like me or like Santino or Ian. Like you have a relationship with everyone. You come through, you spend time at the store. You're being pulled by a lot of things like UFC and the family and all this stuff, the podcast, but you will hang at the store.
Well, that's a community. It's very important to me. That community means a lot. It means a lot, and I like supporting the up and coming people. I think it's very important. I think all the door people, the guys who worked a lot, those guys we're all going to work together someday. It's very possible. They'll be, I'll be at one theater, they'll be at another theater. I'll be at a club over here, they'll be at a club over there. We're all the same.
Yeah.
It's just an illusion. It's just time. And I think it comes from martial arts. Because in martial arts, everybody trains together. I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but I'm as friendly to the white belts as I am to other black belts. We shake hands, we hug. If I'll roll with a guy who's new, who's just starting out. I'll give him tips. I'll help him out. We're all in it together. And I feel like that's the approach that I take with comedy. The same approach. I don't believe in this elitist shit. I think it's stupid. I think it's bad for everybody. It's bad for the person who becomes elite, even more so than it's bad for the up and comers. Because the up and comers, if you dismiss up and comers and you treat them like shit, like you treat them like you're better than them, you're above them, you don't need to like talk to them, you don't make eye contact with them, you ignore them when they're trying to talk to you. And I've seen that from comics, and I think it's bad for you. For them, it just makes them angry at you. And they can't wait till. And I have been in that position before, where someone's dismissed me and been shitty to me, and then I surpassed them, fame-wise, and then passed by, and then they become friendly and weird with you.
And you never
kind of remember.
Yeah, it's very strange when you see the 180.
Yes.
And you'll be in comedy long enough to see plenty of 180s. And it's not, I'll
give you some names after the show.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah. Some names, some good names, some juicy names.
And then you act however the relationship is now at this point in time.
Yeah.
But that's always in the back of your mind. You're like, I remember when it was not this.
But there's also, I want to give someone an opportunity for redemption. Like, I want to believe that they've changed.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I don't want to be that mean person who's like, fuck that guy for life.
For sure.
But I do.
Like, hopefully that they grow, that maybe they've grown as a person.
Yeah.
And
maybe been humbled because the career kind of like skid and it came to an abrupt halt, and they're trying to rebuild. And they used to be someone that thought that they could. There was a time, mostly pre-internet, where comics looked forward to doing a couple things. One thing they looked forward to was bumping people.
And doing a lot of time? Or what?
Yep. But the bumping people was the big part. It wasn't just doing time. So like the doing time thing, if like Dave Chappelle calls up and says, I want to do a half an hour, nobody cares. Like
he's really good about it too. He'll wait till everyone's gone up, and then he'll go at the end of the night.
He's a beautiful person. I love that guy to death. He's the exception to the superstar rule because he's a sweetheart of a guy. But there are some that wanted that spot of the bumper where they could just show up. Oh my God, Mike's here, Fahim. I'm sorry, Mike's going up. Mike has to go up. And Mike looks at you like, I'm going up. You know, like there's a few of those guys.
That fed them.
Yeah, it feeds them. It feeds them to let you know that you're not on their level. Yeah, I've heard
I feel like that happens way less now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, because people like us talk about it on podcasts. Like if there's one guy that was like a super dick to you and you're like, let me tell you something, Joe. There's a fucking guy. You know, we're all comics, man. Just like when you go to a jiu-jitsu school, you take a class or 2 classes, you're a fucking martial artist. You know, you might suck, but you're a martial artist. If you're up on that goddamn stage, you're a comic. In my eyes, you're just like me. I've been doing it for 30 years and you've been doing it for
17,
less.
17,
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the only difference. It's just a time in. And if you get 30 years down and what you get out of those 30 years is that you're better than everybody and that you can act like you're better than everybody and you're aloof and you're dismissive, you've missed everything.
Yeah.
The beauty, like when I come to the store, I like that I get hugs.
Yeah. I was surprised because when you first started coming back, like I would just think like I'd be on the wall or whatever, but you're like, yo, what's up? What's up, Fahim? And like give me a hug, you know? And like we hadn't really like talked a ton, but that something as little as that goes so far.
Well, that's nice. Yeah, I hope it does go far. I want comics to feel good about the community that we have.
Yeah. And I remember because when I got past the store, it was the dark ages. Like I know the stores had various dark ages. Bobby talks about like the 90s and stuff. But you were at the Ice House. So like you weren't even really part of the store. You were still just like going there a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was very cool for you to come back and then Adam take over and then it just kind of evolve into what it is now.
It's crazy
because I remember when it was not that. And there was kind of a beauty in it though. I'm like pretty fortunate in hindsight that I got past then.
What year was this?
I think I got past in like 2010.
Yeah, that was 3 years into the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages started in 2007.
Yeah, it's also crazy to like know that, you know, in the history and see the video and then, oh, I exist on this timeline now.
Yeah.
The store was just, you know, when I'm living in Seattle, it's this faraway place. Even Hollywood and entertainment and all that, it's just this place that exists on a box. Mm-hmm. It's not real. It is and it isn't.
Right.
This isn't a real thing. And then you move to LA and I'm hanging at the Improv. I'm a ghost. You know, people are walking through me. You know, when you first come to town?
Yeah, man.
I swear to God. Like, I'm literally, I'm like, guys, I do comedy. And they're walking through me and I'm just like, my hands aren't. And I would just hang out. And that's part of the deal. You realize leaving your apartment is a win in itself. Like, you may not be getting up as much as you want to, but even just like being out, it's a win.
Yes.
Because someone will be like, oh, you should do my, you know, because out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
So I would just loiter at the Improv. I was nobody. And then I would, like, it was like Sandler and someone, and like maybe Kevin James. I think Sandler and Kevin James. And that was like, I'm sure that's very standard. I mean, I've been here so long, it's very standard now. You see a million people. Like, I don't get starstruck at all. But it's just kind of like, oh, fuck. Like, those are people in a box. Those are people in the box that I watch.
Right.
And they just walked in.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like a little mind fucking adjustment, you know?
Well, when I was in Boston in 1988 when I started, Mecca was the store. That was where Pryor performed and Sam Kinison and Hicks started out there. And Hicks used to do stats. He was a doorman there. And, you know, Letterman was there. And Robin Williams was there. It was Mecca. And I thought when I first started doing comedy, when I realized, like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like, after the first set I ever did, I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing this now. I'm all in. You know, it took me a while to get funny, but I mean, I had it in my head that I was going to get to the Comedy Store.
Oh yeah.
And then when I finally got there, I remember thinking how surreal it was, because I was like, I guess I was 25 or 26, I think, the first time I stepped foot in the store. And I remember sitting in the back of the room going, holy shit, I can't fucking believe I'm here.
Isn't it odd? It's just a place.
Yeah.
but it isn't.
It's not. It's not just a place. It's
I know, but like when you, I guess the manifestation of the place, like, okay, it's a stage. There's chairs. There's a table. You ever see it in the daytime? You're like, all right, this is just a space.
Going there in the
it's
daytime.
Odd.
It feels like it's waiting.
Yeah.
Like it's waiting.
But it doesn't come alive until nighttime.
Yeah, it's like a bedded animal, like a hibernating bear.
Yeah.
And at nighttime, man, the drinks start clinking, and the comedy starts flowing, and Jeff starts playing the piano.
It's an interesting room too. When you first started doing it, was it difficult? Because it's not an easy room.
The OR is not an easy room.
Yeah, the OR. I consider the OR the Comedy Store.
Yes.
People will come through and be like, "Oh yeah, I've been to the store." I go, what room? They're like, "We always go to the main room." And, okay, cool. The main room is cool, but it's not the heart and soul of the Comedy Store. The OR is intimate. Nothing gets lost.
Right.
The main room, you kind of have to be. It's so big, and there's that second tier. You know how the step goes up to like be able to have that laugh wave hit that back row.
Yeah.
You're really working. You're performing, and the stage is so big. You have to be more theatrical to kind of do a serviceable job in that room. But in the OR, it's like literally you're just watching a man gather his thought, or a woman. Just like. You can be real. You don't have to be like, right. You don't have to project
big.
As much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's different kinds of comedy, right? Mm-hmm. What's the largest crowd you've ever done?
I've been watching your stories and stuff, and that's fucking insane. Like even when you're in the green room and you just hear these murmurs, it sounds like, like an angry mob is going to kill you or something. You just hear,
it's crazy.
But they're all just like filtering into this giant theater. Maybe 3,000 or 4,000, and that was a trip for me.
That's big. But you notice when you do 3,000 or 4,000 that there's like you have to give them more pause.
Oh yeah,
more time for the set, the joke, the punchline to settle, the laughs to settle before you move on to another.
But what's great about doing it so long is stand-up is this conversation with the audience, so you know to wait.
Yeah,
like you have inherent timing.
Yeah.
Another comic would just kind of know the timing of the club and just like plow into the next joke while they're still getting laughs from a theater.
Yeah, you can't do that. But I was talking about this yesterday with Tom Papa, that one of the reasons, one of the best lessons that I ever had was actually sitting in the audience at one of Lewis Black's. Not Richard Lewis. I don't know why I confused it.
I mean, I would confuse it, yeah, for sure.
The word Lewis. A Lewis Black show in New Jersey. He was there the night before me, and Joey Diaz and I sat in the audience, and he would hit a punchline, and people would laugh, and then he would hit the tag, and I couldn't hear the tag because all the other people were laughing around us. And I was like, oh, like you got to be like a little more selective. Yeah. You can't just hammer them. Like in the store at the OR, you can hammer them. Yeah. Punchline. And you could beat the fucking shit out of them that way. And it's a different kind of comedy. If you have that style of comedy, you might struggle a little bit with a theater, and you'll definitely struggle in an arena. Arenas and amphitheaters are another animal.
I feel like just having no ceiling. How does that work? Is that good?
I did it Saturday night.
That's
in
more
San Francisco.
For music, huh?
I had a great time. We had a great time. Allie Makovsky killed. She had a great time. Ian killed. It was fun. But it's definitely different.
I think it's different because I think there's such fans, and obviously they're going to be tuned in.
Yeah, that helps.
It's different when you're like, I'll do some festivals sometimes, or I mean, back in the day, you would do a college or something, and it's just outside. And if they don't know who the fuck you are, and it's daytime, and it's outside, you flew to pick up a check. all you got to do is not lose your mind on stage, and you can collect your check. If you're like, shut the fuck out, like then you're not getting your money.
Well, it's a matter of whether or not you're having fun. Mm-hmm. If you're having fun and you enjoy performing and your material is good, so you know it's good. You can have fun.
Sure. And whoever's tuning in can have a good time, and the absurdity of the situation is funny. Yes. But obviously it's not going to be like a regular club set or something.
Yeah. Dude, I'll take you if you want to come. I'll take you. I'll take you one of the crazy places.
I mean, that just seems like such a mind trip. Like that would be like a stand-up float tank.
Well, Allie, Allie's only 22.
Yeah, she's so young. Yeah, she's great.
And I've been taking her with me. And her and Ian came this weekend.
Ian's one of my favorites.
And the first arena she ever did. Well, here's Allie, right? She's done clubs with me. Right? Mm-hmm. She does improv with me all the time. She does a store with me all the time.
And she works the door at the store.
She works the door.
That's the beauty of the system at the store. It's like one of the last places like that where there's a system in place, and
yeah, she works the door of the store, and she performed in front of 10,000 people on Friday night.
And then went back to checking IDs.
Yes,
that's the mindfuck of being a young comic. Is you'll do these crazy things, and then you're back at your job.
But she's wild and hungry, and she's so.
I don't worry about Allie. She's fine.
She's great. Yeah. She's really talented too. Yeah. But so. The first big show she had done before that was the Mirage in Vegas.
I love that club.
I love that club. I love that club. I started doing that club, and then I went to bigger arenas, and I came back to that club because it was so much fun. Because most of the time when I do Vegas, I do it the night before a UFC, like on Friday night. And I was doing these big giant places like the Ka Theater, which is like 100-foot tall, more than 100 feet tall ceiling. It's a Cirque du Soleil place. Wow. But it was too weird. It wasn't the right setup for comedy. Yeah. And the Mirage is so perfect.
Is that the Terry Fedor Theater?
Yes, yes. So I went back to so that was the first time she'd ever done anything big. And she walked out there like she fucking owned the place. She's like she owned it. Yeah. She's like she had the best set I ever saw her have there. And then I said, okay, you want to do arenas? She's like, ah! So...
Yeah, that's bonkers.
So we did this crazy place in Portland. Portland was insane, man. God damn, it was off the charts. Almost too big. Almost too powerful.
What was
Not almost too big, but almost too powerful.
Do they do concerts in there normally, or what is that space?
Basketball.
Oh, shit. That's where the Blazers play?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Whoa. You know, it'd be great if you just have a t-shirt cannon before your set. You're just like,
tonk. Yeah, I had my buddy Cam Haynes, who lives in Eugene, which is real close to there, was in that same place a couple weeks before that for a game. And he's like, dude, I can't fucking believe you're coming here to do comedy. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
It was nuts.
You would almost think as like a consumer of comedy, what is that experience like? And is it still, like the beats have got to be so different than like a club, like the OR?
No, it was fun, man. I was watching Ian on stage, and he was murdering, and I was laughing my ass off. It was great. It's all in the acoustics of the building, and the Moda Center in Portland is a really new theater or a new arena. It's really well made, so the acoustics are excellent.
So nothing is lost, because that's my worry. Right. Like in a space that big that no one can hear what you're saying, and it's muddled. And
I've done some big places where it's not the best. I've done some big places where you hear a little echo, and you're like, ooh, this could be a problem. So you have to be a little clearer with what you say. Like you almost got to take some of the spice out of your joke, you know, a spice out of your delivery, because it's a little echoey. The best is the Ice House or the store or the Improv, like 200 people, 300 people. Bam!
Nothing's lost.
Bam!
Well, that's why comedy clubs are a certain size. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's also because that's all they could seat. You know? I mean, it's hard to sell. Like the West Palm Improv.
Like Joe Rogan comedy clubs, and they're all like 20,000 seats. They're like, yeah, I mean, it sells out when Joe comes around, but we're having a tough time getting people to come out.
It's... I mean, there's not that many people that are doing those places. Like Kevin Hart, Dave, and like...
Oh, that's so crazy, too. Like, you guys teaming up to do a tour.
Oh, my God.
If you're a comedy fan, how great is that?
Dude, we did 25,000 people in Tacoma. We broke the all-time
Oh, you got my brother in.
Record.
I think he hit up Ian, and Ian was like... Because I think I was in London, so I was sleeping, like the time was off. So then he just DM'd Ian, and he was like, hey, I'm Fahim's brother. Can I come to the show? And
the Dave things are crazy, though, because he brings a DJ, and Donnell Rollins gets out there and gets everybody hyped up, and it's the fucking DJ's in between the sets. It's like he's getting
that's
everybody
next
hyped.
level, yeah.
Oh, it's so next level.
That's like a concert.
Yeah. Plus, it's just you feel crazy. Like, is this really happening? Like, even Dave, he was like, this is fucking crazy, man. Like, we were all like, this is crazy.
To get him to say this is crazy? Yeah.
We were all like, this was crazy. We all realized this was something. Because people were so pumped that we're doing it together.
Yeah.
It was mad.
It's like the Watch the Throne tour with Kanye and Jay-Z.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do more. We're trying to figure out where and how, but we had a great fucking time.
Yeah, why not?
It's just so rock star shit. They show up at places and have IVs ready. They do intravenous vitamin infusions with glutathione and get B12 shots.
How did you feel after?
Like I could run through a fucking wall. Yeah, I could pull a tree out of its roots.
How did you feel before and then after? Were you just like
I was
out
a little
of it?
tired. You know, we're traveling and we're up late the night before, and then you get juiced up with vitamins, and you're
like, where's that tree?
Yeah, you feel fucking excellent. I guess, you know, they don't. Rock stars know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're only doing a fraction of what they do.
They're
like
doing
rock
coke.
stars.
Yeah, we're not doing coke.
And they have something different than IV. They probably have some other bag we don't even know about.
Probably. Yeah. It's probably some illegal shit. Yeah, like they're probably doing NAD. They're probably doing a lot of different things. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it looks insane.
At the end of the day, though, back to the grind. Like tonight, I'm doing the belly room. You know,
that's so funny. You're just back in the belly.
Yeah, back in the belly room, doing the belly room. Then I'm doing the improv. I got it 10:30 at the improv.
Oh dang, double dip.
Yes, always.
You ever do? You don't do factory really, huh?
I don't do the factory. You don't do the factory.
Is that because they tape?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they taped me. They tape everybody. They put your shit online.
But like
they say we're not going to do it anymore, but they still have the camera up.
Do you just not trust them? Because like they'll send it to me with the clips, and I'll be like, it's not ready, or I don't want to put it out there, and then they respect it.
That's what Bill Burr said. Yeah, and then I found his shit online. I'm like, yeah, look at that. And he's like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah, man.
Well,
there's somebody working there that's not listening to this. You know, and maybe they don't do that anymore, and I hope they don't. But
why chance it?
It just doesn't feel good. It's just that
the
way it was handled was very poor. The way it was handled was like, you should be happy that we're putting it online. It was not good. I'll tell you all about it later.
Okay.
But it's just, there's plenty of room at the improv and the store.
Yeah.
I don't need to go there.
Yeah,
I don't wish it.
I
mean, I hope it does well. It's a great club. It's fun to work at.
Sure.
You know?
I know what you mean, though. It's like I'm in Tarzana now, and like someone will be like, hey, do you want to do this show in Irvine? And that's just like saying my show's on Mars.
Irvine at 8 o'clock, you might as well leave your house yesterday.
Yeah. Like, Burr, can you chopper me to to Irvine?
Have you been in a chopper with Burr?
No.
You got to go.
But when I was working at Boeing, I had a coworker who was learning, he had his hours up and everything, so he flew choppers, and during our lunch break, he's like, do you want to go in the chopper?
Jesus.
I was like, sure. So then he's like, let's take the doors off.
What?
Yeah,
this guy's trying to kill you.
Nah, but like it was fine. It was crazy. I figured, when else am I going to go in a chopper?
That's true.
So for my lunch break, I went in a chopper with this guy. I recorded it.
Wow.
And then my mom saw it, and she just like flipped out. She's like,
"What are you doing, Fahim? I love you.
She thought I was gonna die. But it was fun.
Yeah, if I had a son and I was a woman and my little boy was in a plane flying around
with the doors
LA
off.
with the doors off.
Yeah, maybe it didn't.
Surfing on the wing.
I shouldn't have told her like that it was my coworker.
Yeah. Yeah, you should have said it was like a super experienced fighter pilot.
He's a military guy.
Yeah.
He's had 20 years experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird when you go up in a bird with like someone you know though so well.
I did it first in high school. When I was in high school, my friend Mike Warbell, he was taking small plane lessons. And we flew around this little small plane. He was like he was my age. Maybe he was older than me, like 1 year. I think I was 16, he was 17 maybe, but no more than that.
You just got to trust him.
And he was flying in a fucking plane. He had a co-pilot who was like an instructor. So
that's better then.
Yeah, he was taking lessons.
You and him.
But that was the first time I was ever in a little tiny-ass plane. I was in high school. I'm like,
you ever want to do that? I have no desire to do that.
It seems like a rough way to die.
I just don't like, even with all the training and all that. Just like, I'll leave it to the pros. Like if JFK couldn't do it.
Well, I think the JFK story was more complicated. I think he was involved with. I think that flight was like no visibility. I think you ran into fog,
and like a more experienced pilot would have known the weather conditions aren't the best to be going up.
Yes, and also you have to understand how to read the gauges. Because you got to know what altitude you're at, and the gauges have to be 100% functional. And I don't know what the whole story was with his death, but I believe Google whether or not JFK's body had cocaine in it. Google that. No, RFK. What's his name? JFK Jr.
Yeah,
JFK Jr. Not RFK. JFK Jr.'s body had cocaine in it because I think there was some cocaine involved. If I'm not mistaken. It's like, fuck, I can fly in the clouds. I'm in the clouds, bitch.
Like, doesn't even have any like lessons. He's just like, let's get in a plane.
I think he knew how to fly, and I think he was unprepared for it's, you know how it is. Like, he was off the Cape, right? Wasn't it somewhere near Massachusetts?
Yeah, I think
so. Those clouds get thick, bro. I mean, you don't see jack shit. So you're flying around in that. Like, imagine just flying, right? You're going 500 miles an hour, and right in front of you is white. That's all you see. 500 miles an hour through the white.
And just knowing, kind of just knowing this isn't a good situation.
Yeah, you're fucked.
And you kind of know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I lived in Colorado, I remember there was a time that I was driving up this hill. We were pretty high up. We were about 8,000 feet above sea levels, 3,000 feet above Boulder. And as we're driving through the hills up to the house, the fucking clouds were so thick you couldn't see 5 feet in front of the car. So you're driving on a mountain road that sometimes has no railings to the left or to the right, and it's just death to the left. And you're driving up this mountain road, and you can't see jack shit. So you literally have to turn the fog lights on. So the regular headlights are no good. You got to shut those off, and you have to have fog lights on because fog lights just kind of light the ground.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they exist.
Yeah.
That people don't even think what a fog light is because most of the time you don't really have to deal with fog. Mm-hmm. Fog light is a little light down below,
so you can see a little bit.
Yeah.
Instead of blinding it just with
otherwise you just see bright white.
I didn't see anything about that, but they were the
you got to check Infowars.com.
Yeah, you're going to the wrong source, dude. Did you use Google? Bing it. Bing it, Jamie.
8:39 at night, and they were flying over water that had no features. So they were over water. It was dark and foggy.
Yeah.
So it was basically pitch black.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a flight plan either, and he told an instructor that offered to go with him he wanted to do it alone.
Oh. What? But you didn't find anything about cocaine?
I Googled that, and nothing popped up. Something popped up that they might have had a past of that, but nothing said
Can
that.
you
Like,
put it?
But why? I know I read
autopsy. Nothing said that.
Oh, okay. Maybe I made it up. It's possible.
Let's put it in the Wikipedia page just in case.
My memory varies so wildly. It's confusing, and I'm wondering if it's old age or if it's just an overwhelming amount of data in my brain, and my hard drive is just completely run out of space.
Maybe there's some overlap, like a similar story.
For sure there is, because I'll have conversations with someone sometimes, and they'll ask me, we'll be just talking about something. I go, well, that's not exactly how it happened. This is what happened, and because of this, and because as they evolved, they developed the ability to do this and that. And I know this. I'm like, why do I know? And someone goes, what are you, a fucking biologist? I'm like, no, I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
I
you
just
retain a lot.
Remember things, but I don't retain some things. Sometimes I forget who I was talking to, or who said what, or where this idea came from. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's not
selective.
Yeah, it's not that good. It's like, but it helps when I'm taking nootropics, which I didn't today. Today I didn't take any Alpha Brain. Why don't we have any here? How come we don't have any here? Oh, give me that.
Oh.
Thank you. Ooh.
Oh man, how does this work?
Well, your brain's going to grow. I hope your head's flexible.
Just like
you got a flexible
the
head?
headphones
Do you swell
break
from the head a lot? You used to use
Should I throw this in here?
Yeah. You used to work at Boeing?
Is this like an Elon Musk moment, guys?
No. This is
Am I going to be a mural?
I know, right? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
A mural. Crazy for me too, man.
I mean,
I didn't even think twice about giving him weed.
Really? You didn't think like, oh, this will be a moment? It was just...
No. I thought we're just hanging out. Me and my buddy Elon.
Yeah.
Smoking a little weed. Like normal. Like
the
I do on the
stockholders were like,
podcast
no!
all the time. Did you see the Ross Baines painting in the green room where in the cloud it says 6%?
Oh, no.
Yeah, go look at the smoke cloud again because he lost 6% of the stock.
Jeez.
But it got it back. It was up to 9% the next day. It went up 3%.
But his street cred went fucking through the roof, dude.
Through the roof, bitch. I drove his car here. That guy deserves everything he gets. That car is a goddamn time machine.
I'm still a Mazda 3 2007 man myself.
Ooh, nice.
I'm a purist.
Nice.
Sometimes I'll get a brochure in the mail like, get the 2019 Mazda 3.
No
like,
chance.
I'm going to put a bullet in my head if I get 2 Mazda 3s in a row.
Don't get a Mazda 3, but get in a Miata.
A Miata?
Dope. Those are dope
Isn't
cars.
that like a punchline?
I don't give a fuck who's making that joke. They don't know what they're talking about.
All right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get a Miata. Everyone's making fun of me.
No, bullshit,
Joe Rogan
man.
said.
Dude, a Miata is a fucking fantastic car. I'm not bullshitting. It has very low horsepower, but it's super lightweight.
This will be my like defense when people make fun of me. They have a lot of horsepower. It's really lightweight.
No, it doesn't have a lot of horsepower. It's very low. I think it's less than 200 horsepower.
181.
Yeah. But Miatas are amazing cars.
But
If
as
you
a
ever drive
comedian,
one,
how many times do you hear it as a punchline?
those are hacks.
Sure.
Those comedians are
Isn't
hacks.
there funny? There's certain words that are just like go to.
Yeah.
Like Chipotle's a great.
There it is.
Chipotle's a great
Come on, that's a good
punchline
looking car.
word.
They still
Miata.
make them in standard with a standard transmission.
I just want to say thank you, or you're welcome, Mazda, for.
It's a fucking great car, man. I'm not kidding. They're really fun to drive. They handle really well.
I like mine. I like
They're
my
very
Mazda 3.
tactile. But a Mazda 3 is different than a Miata, right? How much different is it?
I mean, probably pretty different.
What is that one that right there? The 2019 Mazda MX-5? MX-5 Miata?
What about the RX-8?
But you see that red one? That
All of
cool
them are.
red color?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the one above that, please. Look at that with the removable roof. Ooh, that's like a Targa.
Oh, I could be on the beach with
Bro,
that.
that is a dope car. People are crazy. They just want it. They want higher horsepower. If that was instead of a Miata, if that was a Tesla, if Tesla made an electric Miata that goes 0 to 60 in 1 second,
get on it.
Everybody would want that car.
Yeah,
dude, it's a great car.
Yeah,
drive one.
All right. You know, I'm gonna do that after this. I'm gonna test drive a Mazda Miata.
And it's cheap. How much is a Miata?
It's like 28 grand.
Dude,
come on,
man.
That's it.
I'm not bullshitting. For 28 grand, you get a great car. I'm not kidding. I would drive a fucking Miata.
I just would never think that you would have this much passion about the Mazda Miata, and it's really refreshing.
I am an automobile enthusiast.
Yeah.
I love cars.
I saw the cars here.
I love engineering. I'm a fan.
I used to do that.
I know you.
Oh, yeah?
But I love mechanical things. I love how people design things. And what they've done with the Miata is they've made a car that it always has a loyal fan base that continues to buy them because they don't break the bank. It's not something that you pull up to the club and everybody thinks you're like some super baller, but it's a fun car to drive. They're a really fun car to drive. They're super lightweight. They're very agile. They handle great. They still make them with a manual transmission.
Yeah, mine stick.
Yeah, they're fun, man. It's a fun car to drive. Don't be hating on Miatas.
All right. But how do you feel about Mazda 3s? I want the same love for the Mazda 3.
It's not that good.
God, motherfucker.
It's kind of boring. It's like you might as well get a Prius.
Yeah.
You're in the Prius category.
You know, what's happened with Tesla, it's interesting because for a while, you could be driving a Prius and no one knew if you were rich or poor. It was the great equalizer.
Still to this day, Larry David drives a fucking Prius.
Sure. But Tesla came along and they're like, yo, now you can stunt and save the earth. Ooh. Now people know you're rich and pious. Before, you didn't know if this guy's poor or DiCaprio. Yeah, but now it's like, so all the poor guys who want to go green are kind of fucked.
But a Prius is different because it's a hybrid. You get
but that was the only option back in the day.
That was the only option. Mercedes has an S-Class Mercedes, top of the food chain Mercedes that's also a plug-in hybrid. It's just a new one that they just released. Like Jeremy Clarkson was raving about it. It's supposed to be this incredible car. So Mercedes is actually making like plug-in hybrids for their top of the food chain vehicles.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty.
Seems like that's
cool.
new.
It is. It is new, but it's like a little bit of a step back because it has gasoline. Like, but the step up is going to be a car that charges, and it charges in a normal amount of time, like an hour or two.
How long does yours
600 take? Forever.
How long?
We have a supercharger here. We have a supercharger installed here, and it still takes, I don't know, probably like 5 hours.
5 hours?
Dead. Yeah, if it's dead, it'll probably take 5 hours, maybe 6. You know, but like if I come here and it, like full charge is, what does it get? 300 and fucking 90 miles or something like that, somewhere around that range. But not really.
Are you having to be a little better with your planning? Like, all right, I'm going to put it in here.
I'm not going anywhere with it. I go to L.A.
Yeah.
I go to the Comedy Store. Like I have, like this weekend, I'm in Anaheim for the UFC. I'm not driving that fucking thing. Are you crazy? I'm not getting stranded.
What happens if you get stranded? Are you like, does anybody have a battery? Does anybody have electricity I can siphon?
Anybody can sit here with me for 8 hours? Yeah, there's not a goddamn thing you can do. You have to call a tow truck, and they have to bring it to a charging station, and then you have to sit there like an asshole.
Yeah, for 6 hours.
It's but the technology, if you can't look. Obviously, I'm kidding in some way because it's super simple. It's got, you've seen one on the inside, right? The giant screen.
I've only seen from the outside because like
there's one right here. Go sit in it.
Because the Comedy Store is turned into a Tesla dealership. That's kind of how you know.
It's Callan's got one.
Yeah.
Neil's
that's
got
how you
one.
know the store is in a renaissance, where it's like just so many Teslas coming in and out of that place.
Not just Teslas. Like Russell Peters pulls up in a Ferrari SUV.
And like a Bentley too.
Yeah. He's got a Bentley.
Yeah.
A Ferrari. Oh, no, a Lamborghini.
Dude,
SUV.
Like now must be the most trying time to be a lot guy at the Comedy Store. Just imagine the bullets they sweat.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Having to move because that parking lot in the Comedy Store is like Tetris.
Yeah.
There's a finite amount of space, and they've got to fit all the paid regulars cars in there. And the price tag on all these are insane now.
The problem is they're letting these promoters park there.
Oh, aren't they being better about saying like you can't park in a lot?
They should detonate their cars. They should have
like instead of a tow truck, it's just like a stick of dynamite.
Just a giant like Kevlar tarp that they throw over those cars and just detonate them.
Just during your set, you just hear like, oh,
just get out
promoter.
Because there's so many people that park back there. Like, you're not even a comic. Like, what are you doing?
Not only
back
that,
here?
though, like the back bar, and then also the back patio area.
They get weird.
Because that's like our home. That's kind of where we hang out before we have to go on stage. And like we want to see guys like you or Santino and just like chop it up before we have to go on stage. And then it's like, who's this?
And they talk to you and they interrupt conversations.
And not in a snooty way, but it is a bit of
Adderall way.
It's like a dugout. It's like a baseball dugout.
Adderall people go back there.
Yeah.
They talk too much to you.
Yeah.
You don't need that in your life.
Right. But they have more confidence than me back there. I'm like,
they have Adderall. They have Adderall confidence.
I've never done Adderall.
Good for you.
Have you done it? Isn't it big now? Like every student is taking it?
A lot of people are taking it. It's a big thing amongst journalists. Journalists and writers, because they get more work done. Because you're on speed. Like, there was a guy that I had in here that was writing a book on, he wrote that book on Hunter S. Thompson. What is it? What is his book? Something Gonzo something. Anyway, he was talking about how he needs it to write and he can't write without it.
Is it just the deadlines and the workload is insane and that's a way to kind of cope with it?
You don't need it to write. Can you move your fingers? You move your fingers? Yes.
But there's a mental fatigue.
Yes. Okay, take a break, go for a walk.
Yeah, that's the natural thing to do, but some people want the quick fix.
Well, it's not necessarily the quick fix. It's like you can get a Timothy DeNevy.
Yeah,
Very nice guy.
Like mental debt if you keep
on taking it? What's the name of his book? What's the name of the book? Yeah, Mental Debt. Yeah, it's called You Become a Crackhead. Freak Kingdom. Yeah. You become someone who is on stimulants all the time. And I know several people that have an issue. I know one guy has completely lost his fucking mind, thinks everybody's against him, thinks that everyone's done him wrong, and he's just out there cracked out in the middle of nowhere on fucking Adderall every day and making YouTube videos. And there's a lot of people like that, man. There's a lot of people like that. It is a meth-like drug. It's very, 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 very similar to meth.
Yeah.
It's just a different release in terms of like how quickly your body processes it.
It's crazy how widespread it is for something like that then.
It's fucking stimulants, man.
Yeah.
It gets people, if you can effectively do your job and you don't commit any crimes and they can sell you that stuff and make a profit, and then you actually are more profitable when you're on that stuff than not, then fucking have at it. That's how people look at things. And like, look, when I was, when pot was sort of legal, when it was medically legal, I had a bullshit prescription.
Your back hurt?
Oh, yeah, everything, bro.
Yeah. What was your excuse?
Did you actually? I forget. I used a bunch of different ones.
Did you go to the hot doctor? You know, like you would see on Sunset Boulevard, it's like this like Persian chick who's like,
no,
I will prescribe you.
No, I went to a black dude with dreadlocks. He was awesome. This is what he looked at me when I went in there.
That's the best weed doctor. The black guy would like, oh, this guy's good.
The best. He had do you remember those vaporizers they're a bag? They're called a Volcano.
Oh yeah. I remember when I stayed with Ari Shafir in New York, and he had those, and I had never seen that before. It just seemed like such an odd contraption.
Some of the early podcasts we vaporized with that bag, and they're the dumbest conversations because we had no idea what we're talking about. I would like correct myself halfway into a sentence because I forgot what I was saying, and then I would forget what the original correction was, and then I'd be like, "Wait, no, that's not what I'm saying. What am I saying?" I was so fucked up, and it would take like an hour into the podcast before like the fog would settle.
So was that just the medical marijuana delivery system?
Well, no, it's just a delivery system. It's not you can use it right now. I mean, you don't have to.
No, I feel like do a lot of people use it that way?
Yes, a lot of people vaporize with those bags.
What's the upside of that?
No smoke. You're just getting mist. You're basically getting the THC crystals. It's turning into mist. When you vaporize, you're not getting the burnt plant material.
It's almost like coffee connoisseurs.
Yes,
there's a million ways.
Yes.
To get what you need.
Yeah, or wine dorks.
Yeah.
Or cigar dorks. It's like real similar.
For sure.
But anyway, I walk into this guy's office, and he's just the fucking coolest. I wish I kept in touch with this dude. It was somewhere in Hollywood. I forget where it was, but the dude looked at me and goes, "You look sick! You look sick!" He goes, "You need some medicine! You need some medicine!" And he had this big smile on my face. I said, "Thank you, sir. I feel sick, and I feel like I need some medicine." He goes, what are you here for, brother? And I said, it helps you sleep. He goes, good enough for me. And he's writing a prescription. He gives me a prescription, then he pulls out the biggest bag. He had a custom vaporizer bag for the volcano, and I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating. It was 4 feet long.
Jeez.
So it's this 4 feet long bag. He puts it on this, like if it pumps up like a kid's bouncy house. Fills up with weed.
He does it there?
Oh, yeah. We were blasted. We got blasted at his place. At the doctor's office was connected to a grow up, right? So we smoke. We vaporized, right? And then we go into the back where they're growing the weed, and we're barbecued, right? I'm barely in this dimension. And I go in there, and I see all these plants, and I get a feeling from these things like they're alive, like they're conscious. It felt so weird. To this day, I miss that feeling. I go up. Maybe what was that? Was I so high I was hallucinating? Is it possible that if you get really high on pot and then you go around the pot leaves, you pick up their frequency and you understand that they're a living organism, and that's one of the reasons why they make you feel so good when you get high. Like one of the reasons why you're interacting with whatever they are, with the molecules, the THC and the cannabinoids. You're interacting with it, and then when you go around the actual potted plants, and they're all super healthy because they got this crazy hydroponic setup, and they're all the right nutrients, and these lush green plants in this perfect environment for growing because they're experts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these things are alive, man. These things, like, they know you're there. They're like, hi. That's what it felt like.
So it was a successful trip.
Oh yeah, man. I took me hours before I knew what I was doing. Afterwards,
yeah,
it's like hours later, trying to figure.
I just love how he took the onus of an excuse off of you.
Oh yeah,
you look sick.
That's the moment I walked in. You look
doctor.
sick.
Yeah,
you need some medicine. And crazy dreadlocks and circular glasses. He was amazing. God, I wish I kept in touch with that guy.
Good doctor.
He was a great doctor. Yeah. I've had a bunch of good weed doctors. I had one of them, though. I had to stop going. He went crazy 9/11 on me.
What does that mean?
He was trying to tell me that the towers were brought down by Tesla technology.
Whoa.
And I was like, what? He's like, concrete doesn't vaporize that way. I was like, what do you mean vaporize?
I used to try to do a bit about like how... Like, you hear about white privilege and everything. I go, one of the things about white privilege people don't really think about that much is you're allowed to have any conspiracy theory you want. I can't be like, 9/11 was an inside job. Like, jet fuel can't melt steel beams. They're like, whatever, Ahmed. Sure thing, Aladdin. No, you don't understand.
Right.
Yeah.
That's different. Yeah. If you looked at the pie chart of people that are really into conspiracies and like looked at race, white would be overwhelming. What would it be, like the pie chart of conspiracy theorists?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like 3/4 of the pie chart, white people.
Yeah, it would sound absurd coming from me. Like, I don't believe that. But imagine if I'm like, 9/11 was a brown guy. Like, they're like, sure thing. You're not getting off that easy.
Yeah. Inside job. Yeah. It's you worked for Boeing? Is that what you did?
Yeah.
What did you do over there?
I was an aerospace engineer.
Were you
in Long
involved
Beach.
at all in 9/11? Did you have anything to do?
This is a hatchet job. I'm out of here.
You can tell us.
You were lulling me into a false sense of security with like the comedy and the comedy store.
For years, I've been your friend.
He goes, so anyways, you were involved with 9/11, right?
What, did you train those pilots?
You gave me, yeah.
What did you do? What did you do at Boeing?
I did stress analysis for the floor beam. It's a very unglamorous. The thing with like
it's kind of cool though.
I guess so.
Means you're bona fide smart.
Yeah, I mean, I'm able to jump through hoops with a goal in mind. Like, I have a high threshold for academic pain, so I took a lot of math. I took a lot of... It wasn't that hard for me. It was like... I mean, it's difficult to get the degree, but, all right, they do these steps. You get this number. There's this formula. You have the tools.
Right.
They show you how to do it. Monkey see, monkey do.
Interesting way of describing it. You have a high threshold for academic pain, because it is like a little painful, right?
I think just it seems so daunting to the average person, and they just don't want to be bothered with that to even get over the hump of learning something like that. They're just like, I could never.
Right.
That's for brainiacs.
Right.
But the thing is, engineering was a means to an end for me to do stand-up comedy. Like, my parents were going to pay for my college, but only certain degrees. So at first, because I knew I wanted to do stand-up when I was like 17.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you know?
I think two things happened. So I didn't grow up with stand-up. I didn't really know it was a thing. It wasn't on my radar. I grew up with The Simpsons, SNL, and like Conan, late night Conan. Those are my jams. I feel like that's my comedy DNA. But then I was 17, like my 17th birthday, we rented Delirious. So we watched Delirious, Eddie Murphy's Delirious, you know? it was like the greatest thing in the world. And that just planted the seed of comedy. So that coupled with my love for SNL, and I'm like, how do I don't know if Google was around even, or maybe, I don't know. I just researched how do people get on SNL. Maybe Google wasn't around. So I saw they came from two camps. They were either stand-ups or they came from improv. So like Second City, UCB, Groundlings. This was like the pedigree. These are the schools they picked from. And then I researched those schools. They were in Chicago, LA, New York. You had to pay money to take these classes. You may not pass. You have to go back to 101 or whatever. So it's like a school. And stand-up is just you. It's just you out there with like a sword, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I could do that. And there's comedy clubs in Seattle. I can count on me. Like, I don't have to rely on other people to like zip, zap, zoop with each other. Improv is a great thing. You know, I'm not like knocking it or anything. It's just, it's such a different, you have to dedicate your life to like one or the other. I think it's very hard to be great at both.
And there's not a lot of career paths for improv. It's like
that's
you
the
get
thing,
to
dude.
a certain spot and that's it.
Like there's some people who are very, very talented in Groundlings, in like UCB, and then how do they monetize that? If they book a commercial, they're still beholden to a lot of other people. They have to be the right guy or girl, the right look. There's so many variables that are outside of your control as a talented improv performer. But as a stand-up, you could do a weekend. We can always make money.
Yeah.
Once you get to a certain level.
Famous, like in terms of going on the road as an improv guy? I guess
It's
whose
tough.
line is it anyway, guys? Do it.
Yeah, but you'll have to, maybe they'll start doing stand-up because they've built some, you'll see that, right? They'll build some credibility, like a notoriety, and they come from the improv background. But if they want to start making some money on the road, they start doing stand-up. But they're no better off than someone like a 22-year-old doing stand-up now, because you got to put the hours in. Just because you're good at this other thing, you still have to start over.
Right. It's like the farm.
Yeah, exactly.
Analogy.
You can't. The beauty of stand-up is you can't skip steps. It's so, when you see a comic on stage, it's like when you cut a tree open and you see all the rings. You can just tell, like, oh, this guy's been doing it 20 years.
Yes.
You can't fake that.
Yeah.
So I chose to do stand-up because it was just me out there, and I could rely on me, and I could do it while I do engineering school. So I chose engineering because like I knew I wanted to do this stuff. So I thought I needed a theater degree. So I was like, can I do theater? And my dad was like, no, you can't do theater. And then it kept on getting more and more watered down. I was like, can I do like directing? Like, no, you can't do directing.
I told you what you can and can't do.
Yeah. And I love it. In hindsight, I'm so grateful that
Why
they
is
told
that?
Dude, if I had a theater degree right now, I'd be fucked. If anyone's watching and you have a theater degree or you're thinking about getting a theater degree, don't do it. You don't need it. You're not going to be Jude Law because you have a theater degree. You could do it on the side. Think of how many people have come to LA or New York. It's a different thing, okay? Like if you're at Juilliard and you're this instrument or whatever, and it's like a top theater school and it's a feeder to like that world, okay. Or if you're the son of like a huge actor or daughter, sure. But if you're like in, I don't know, Ohio, and you're going to theater school, you're just lighting your parents' money on fire. That's all you're doing. They're letting you like go in a 20-year-old jungle gym for 4 years.
What the thing is, like you see sometimes like an actor, like or rather like an athlete or someone will be an actor in a movie and they'll do a fucking amazing job.
Here's an
like,
okay.
What the heck? Like Oprah.
Here's an example.
The Color Purple.
The highest paid actor is The Rock. What theater school did Dwayne The Rock Johnson go to?
The Theater of Hard Knocks.
Thank you. So you might as well do wrestling as opposed to. So it doesn't. Theater degree does not equal acting job.
Right, but that's a different kind of acting than say like Jake Gyllenhaal or.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think you're learning that? Or like, here's the other thing too that I always thought was so interesting, because I did acting class for like 2 months when I was here in LA. You know, just to try it out and stuff. It wasn't for me. And what's funny is like they'll be teaching these techniques and like Meisner and tapping in and blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of the class, they'll be like, all right, does anybody have any sides any auditions they want to go over? And it's all just CSI interrogation jobs. Like, I don't know the guy. So you're teaching Shakespeare in class, and anything anyone's ever going out for is like, oh yeah, I used to come around here like 2 times a week. Like, how is iambic pentameter helping you with that's what you're
right,
and you're chomping at the bit to get this
Law and Order SUV.
CSI delivery guy number 2. Why are you learning Meisner?
Right.
And I know there are no bit parts, only bit actors and all that.
Was it true?
No, that's what
Is that what
that's
say?
what acting teachers love to tell you when you complain about getting a bit part. They go, there are no bit parts, only bit actors. And then you go, oh, I don't want to be a bit actor. I'm happy to be a tree.
Well, there's certain comics that will tell you there are no bad crowds. Those people are assholes.
Sure. I think the thing is, if you're a younger comic and you're like, that crowd sucked, you don't have the bandwidth to know what's good and bad yet.
Not yet.
So you can say that. I can say that. Like,
we've all seen bad crowds.
Sure.
They
yeah.
exist.
And we can chalk it up for what it is. But if you're a year in or 2 years in, it was probably you not audibling or just like adjusting on the fly.
Or you're not very good.
Maybe that too. Sure.
There's a weird thing about comics where there's certain comics where there's no way they're going to figure it out.
I don't know though, because I mean, as a whole, yes, but there are. I hear there's anomalies to that. Like, because I would hear stories about Sebastian, which is so crazy because I wasn't there for that timeline of when. But he's killing it. He's so funny, and he's like the guy now.
Well, he was never terrible.
Okay, so you're talking about like...
No, I remember Sebastian in the beginning. He was never terrible. He was learning.
I see.
But he showed up all the time, and he was always a nice guy, and he's like, he wasn't terrible. He just didn't do great in the beginning.
I think people just take liberties with that story then, and they make it sound like,
No, he was never offensively unfunny.
Right.
There's certain people that are offensively unfunny, where you're like, there's not a chance. You're missing the DNA. Like, you just can't, you're colorblind. Yeah. You're missing it. Whatever it is, you don't have it.
Yeah.
Can't breathe underwater.
I mean, that's the beauty. I would hear Mitzi stories of her just telling people, like,
you're terrible. Yeah. You never met her, huh?
No. I got there when Tommy was around, and it was kind of, so she was like sick, and he would say, Mitzi saw your tape. And I don't know if I know. Yeah. So he would always just like have this buffer between like Mitzi and myself, and I would just like, pretend that
Mitzi she became like what's the guy's name from Psycho? Norman Bates. When
just
his mom was in the fucking shower, but it was really him.
Yeah.
Like his mom's dead, and he would put the wig on. Yeah. That was Tommy. Tommy put the Mitzi wig on.
And then he would always like do her voice and stuff, and like when giving
fame.
Yeah, man. Dude, like, because he would expunge wisdom, and because I remember I would drive up from Boeing. So I was working in Long Beach. So I got the engineering degree, right? And then I just applied to jobs. I did mechanical engineering because my best friend was doing mechanical, and I was like, I don't care what engineering I do. I'll be close to my friend.
And you were just doing that so you could have a job, so you
just
make
to
your parents
support
happy?
myself. It was such a long con. It's like, all right, I knew I wanted to do stand up. In the meantime, I got to go to college, right? I've got to be able to support so I can get good in Seattle.
That's really funny, man.
I guess people don't
do that.
Life's a long time if you're lucky,
Yeah.
And it's okay to plan this far out. It sounds far-fetched maybe if I told it to someone at the time, but in hindsight, it was the most beautifully executed plan.
It worked out great.
Yeah, so I did stand-up while I was going to college. My life was just school by day, stand-up at night. It would actually be stand-up on the weekends because I was living at home, and it's 40 minutes to the club, so I would just do a lot of time on Friday and Saturday.
Did your parents know?
Yeah, they knew. And it was bad. It was like I was doing heroin. Like, they were against it.
Wow.
Just
How
because,
do they feel now?
My mom I took her to the premiere. I had a small role in Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, this Tina Fey movie, so I took her to the premiere in New York. And so she got to be on the red carpet and like take pictures with Tina Fey and like... And so she was in. She was in after that. And she keeps on asking me, she's like, when's the next premiere? Well, I'm available.
When's the next premiere? That is a hilarious thing to ask.
There was an after party, and everyone's milling about. And then my mom's like, there's Tina. Tina's at the, like, introduce me. I'm like, yeah, okay, mom. Because I'm, like, my mom's a sweetheart, but I'm still caught in this showbiz thing. Like, I'm, number 15 on the call sheet, or I'm very down. I don't even know if she remembers me, even though I'm in the movie, So I'm like, I got to pick my spot, and then she just kind of like nudges me, like a linebacker. She's like pushes me into Tina. And I'm like, but it was great to have the out of my mom. Be like, my mom is such a huge fan, and she's like, oh yeah, of course, and she was a sweetheart.
So now she's in.
She's in.
She's like, you made it. You're actually
successful. Or she could see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like,
right.
okay.
What about your dad?
My dad My dad is kind of more nuts and bolts. He doesn't like get fooled by the glitz and the glam or anything like that. He just understands money and things. Like if I had a nice car.
That Mazda
like
3.
If I had a Mazda Miata, I mean, he'd be fucking sold. Be like, you did okay. But no.
Get a Tesla.
Yeah, I guess so. I think what has softened him a little bit, because I just got this place in Tarzana, like a house, and that's like real adult shit. So I didn't realize that would kind of soften him a bit, because...
How old are you now?
35.
So you're like, wow, he's a real adult.
I guess so, yeah.
Do you have a girlfriend?
No.
So when you get married...
You think... I don't know if he cares about that. Like, I think it's more...
Sure,
I
that's
guess.
what an adult does.
I think my dad cares more about the security, like a real career,
right?
Income, and a house and stability.
And
comedy was never... And then also, aside from just those things, you know, they're from Afghanistan, so it's a low... In my dad's opinion, it's kind of a low thing. Comedy is like a low thing for someone to be doing. Like
low?
Yeah, like low. Like subhuman. Because he would always say,
because he saw you at like a giant sold out theater or something.
I don't know, maybe. Yeah, who knows? But
big line of people waiting to see you.
I guess. I don't know what that thing will be. But he would always say, because we would, you know, be in shouting matches when we were younger. Oh yeah, when we were both younger. Yeah, I mean, look, I love my parents, and I know what it was grounded in. I think they didn't want me to be eating out of a dumpster. So they were just, they were there. I mean, most of my dad, his frustration and lashing out, or just like, and not like physical or anything, just like, you know, like, you're throwing your life away, blah, 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 was because he wanted that security for me.
Yeah.
I understand it for what it is. When I was like 17 or 18,
yeah,
it's like, you don't get me.
Right.
I hate you. Like, it just feels so,
sure.
Now that I'm older, I get it. I get where he was coming from.
Right. Yeah,
so... I forgot what the point was, but I think now that I have a little more stability.
When was the first time
he would always say, he's like, you're out there every night with the pimps and the prostitutes. I don't think my dad's ever been to a comedy club.
I've never seen a pimp. Yeah. When was the last time you see a pimp at the comedy store?
Yeah.
I might have seen one or two prostitutes over the last 20 years.
You're out there every night with the pimps and the prostitutes. That was his line.
You should talk about this on stage.
I did it in like my last special. I tell that story. I talk about this story with my dad, and he would always trot that out there. And then
my God, that's so funny. The pimps and the prostitutes.
I mean, he's not half wrong.
He's half wrong. I've seen a couple prostitutes.
Yeah, sure.
But that's
he's like, as long as there's no pimps, okay.
30 years, cool. I've seen maybe 2 or 3 prostitutes.
The whole front rows, just like fur coats
all
and like
pimps.
pimp canes.
All pimp canes. All greased hair. Big diamond rings.
But he would say, he's like, people should be entertaining you. That would be the thing. Like, I should be the one entertained.
Oh,
not being
you're
the
special,
entertainer.
Because you're intelligent.
I guess so.
You're a serious person.
Yeah, I've just found, like, if you want to make broad strokes, I think in the Middle Eastern community, it's like they love art, but their kids shouldn't be doing it. Like they should be consumers of art.
But interesting. But what if you were like a famous painter, classical painter?
I guess no parent really thinks best case scenario for their kid. Like, but what if a bunch of people buy his art? It's always like, it's a pipe dream. What are the odds? Blah blah blah.
Yes,
you're throwing your life away. And I guess there is some because statistically, sure.
Oh yeah, statistically,
sure. But I think like what I would do different when I have kids or whatever, I would explain the realities of how, you know, the whole theater degree thing. I'm so glad they made me do a degree with teeth, because that allowed me to have a legitimate job to get me out here. Like, I'm not a trust fund kid. Right. How else would I be close to where I needed to be? I needed to be here.
Live?
They're in Seattle.
Oh, so they're still up there.
They're still there, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would have some practicality. I'd be like, I'll pay for your college, get a legitimate degree where there's an actual job outlook at the end. Like, I'm not paying you to find yourself.
When did you quit the job?
Like 2010, 2009.
So right when you came to the store?
Right around. So some things happened. Like, I was working at Boeing for 3.5 years. And I would just work by day, and I would drive up to Hollywood and like the Valley by night. I was burning the candle at both ends.
Ooh, you must have been tired all the time.
I was. Well, especially at first, because I didn't know the lay of the comedy land. I was just going, I thought everything was worth my time. Or you don't know until you do it. So I would do some like shitty open mic, drive all the way to like
Did you do any backyard shows?
That wasn't a thing
Really?
yet. That wasn't a thing yet. as of late, you know what's so funny is like the progression of the alt scene is that first it was in weird spots like a washing or like a laundromat, and then it was like a meltdown, and then living rooms were a big thing, living room shows, and then backyards were hot.
That's I remember living room shows.
Oh yeah,
like
I want to do a sketch
people in a living room
where it's like the hottest alt show. It's called Crawl Space.
Well, let me
and
tell
everyone's just on their belly.
You do really funny one-on-one sketches that you do. Like you play more than one role.
Oh,
and you
thanks,
do them
man.
on your Instagram. Like,
that's
are
just
you
like
just
beef.
super bored during the day? And you like?
No.
I always wanted to ask you this.
Oh, why I do them and stuff?
Yeah.
All right, so it's almost just some of the stuff I do is just a byproduct of, I don't know, being creatively backlogged. So I love stand-up and I love sketch. Those come to me naturally. Sometimes people will be like, "Do you have a movie script?" Or like, "You know, what's your sitcom?" Mm. And that's just more work. There's a scaffolding there that if I was teamed up with someone who understands that world, maybe it'd be a little more easy. But I don't want to bang my head against a wall to understand a format where stand-up and sketch just like come to me.
Right.
So that's why I lean into that. So stand-up has been a thing I've been doing for like 17 years. I feel like I've developed. I'm good at that. Sketch, I started doing. I did it like I think eighth. I grew up through it. Like I would do funny videos in school, like video productions. Back in the day when you had 2 VCRs. This is before like Avid. So you'd like jog shuttle. You would have 2 tapes, your mix down tape and your raw tape. So you would actually like make sketches on a VHS cassette. So I was always into that because I loved SNL, you know. So, and then you stop doing it. I'm doing stand up, and then I moved to LA, and I'm not getting on stage that much because it's so saturated here. It's so it's the biggest market here and New York. Although I think it's easier to get on stage as a stand up in New York. Here you have to deal with actors, and there's a real bottleneck. So I wasn't getting up a lot. But I'm a creative guy. I have all these ideas, and I had this idea for this video on like how to attend an Afghan wedding or whatever. So, and I was trying to get people to help me out and shoot it. And then you're a runt. No one really gives a fuck. Like if you can't do anything for anybody when you first come out here, it's just sort of like, and not in a mean way, it's just the nature of the wilderness. Like, why am I going to, you're not a proven thing. There's really no upside. So you get a lot of like, yeah, I'll help you. And then flake. So I rewrote it to just do it all in my apartment. So I just filmed this video, this YouTube video. It wasn't even on YouTube yet though. It was, I did this video called How to Attend an Afghan Wedding or something, which is called Afghan Wedding. I put it on MySpace and it kind of does well. It kind of takes off a little bit. And then my brother was like, "Oh, you should put it on YouTube." Like it wasn't ubiquitous to put stuff on YouTube yet. And I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll put it on YouTube too." Put it on YouTube. It kind of makes the rounds on there too. And that was just kind of like the nudge I needed. Like, oh, I'm good at, I could do this. And I could do this while I'm waiting to get stage time. So this was another avenue for me. I do stand-up and then I do sketches. And this was in the heyday of YouTube when there was an appetite for YouTube sketch, like indie YouTube sketch. Just funny guys, and there's different sketch groups and everything.
You don't think there's an appetite for that now?
Not anymore, no.
Why not?
It's become bite-sized. No one wants to watch sketch on you, like standalone. People want to watch makeup blogs. They want to watch pranks.
But how do you know?
I know. Cause like,
how do you know?
Because I've uploaded. You see the downturn. There was a time.
Right, but is it because...
Now it's Instagram. Everything's more bite-sized.
Oh, okay.
So I'm a sketch guy. I love fully formed sketch and really taking my time. Like, and me and my buddy Aristotle, like, he's a really talented filmmaker and director. I think I just left Boeing. And I had this idea for this American History X type sketch. It's Dominoes. It's called Dominoes. And he and I did it, and we put it out there. And it was beautiful. Like, it's just one of my favorite sketches we've done. And so I just kept on doing sketch, and there was an appetite for it. And then it started to drop off. Like, there wasn't a lot of viewership. Now, YouTube sketch will only work if it was on TV the night before. Like, if it's a Key and Peele sketch that made it, or like an Inside Amy, or like a Tonight Show sketch, or the only way it'll make the rounds is if the sketch was on TV, and then it has the potential to do well on the internet. Just a born and bred sketch on the internet doesn't take off anymore. Instagram does. So I just have all these ideas, and I always write them down on my phone. And Instagram, those like little one-on-ones, is a way to get those ideas out in a very not precious way. And it's just idea driven, and people respond to it, you know? So it's just more of like, oh, let me get this idea out of my head.
So when you write, do you sit down and force yourself in front of a notepad or a computer? Back
in the day, like when I was first doing stand-up, I had 2 methods. I would have the jokes that would just come to me, and then I would like sit down and try to manufacture jokes. You know, like, all right, brain, what's funny?
Right.
What's funny about the world?
Right.
And I would come up with some stuff, but I always found the things that always worked the best were the stuff that just like came out of the ether. It just came to me. And then eventually I got to the point where I would get enough of those ideas where I didn't have to sit down and write. So all I had to do was just be good about capturing what I'm receiving. So I have my phone with me all the time. Back in the day I had a marble notebook and all that, but like phones have advanced so much. I have Evernote.
Me too.
Yeah. So whenever I get an idea, regardless of what the proper medium for it is, like I'll get an Instagram video idea. I'll get a fully formed sketch idea where I need like production value, a sitcom idea, or a stand-up idea. I have different notes for each of them. And I've just trained myself. My brain is wired a certain way where I just catch the butterflies or just put the bucket under the faucet.
So you don't sit down?
No. I'll get the idea. I'll jot down as many words as I need to capture it. Maybe, I don't know, say something happens, we go to, we go to the lake or something. And then we go hunting. I get 3 ideas about hunting. This many words to capture this thought, this many words to capture, like separated by commas. So I have it.
Do you record your sets?
Yeah, I'll record them.
Do you listen to the recordings?
I do. Well, it depends. Like if I'm doing a hot night at the store, that's kind of like the hits, and I'm not going to learn a lot from the hits.
Right.
When I want to work on stuff, I'll tell Adam at the store, when I call in my avails, I go up late on Tuesday or Wednesday, whichever one I get. I specifically ask to go late so that there's there's no pressure. There's like 10 people trying to sober up. I'm on my phone, right. And it's not like this, because when it's a packed OR, it's kind of like what do you got?
Right.
Like I paid this much money, I got a hot date with me, blah, blah, blah. It's a different show.
Joey Diaz started getting angry about it.
About what?
But you can't practice.
Oh, well, you can. You just have to choose different time slots or choose different shows to do it on. There's new material nights. I love those. Like Neil Brennan has one at Westside. That's one of my favorite shows to do. JF Harris has one. So you have those new material shows. But if you choose to do a later time slot, it might be different for you because you're such a draw. But I'm nobody. Like I'm a cusper right now. So I can just do late night.
But I just think you just sandwich those new bits in between old bits.
You can, but if you just want the total mental freedom of just like throw spaghetti against a wall,
right,
and in a professional way, because if I'm doing like a hot show and I'm trying to do a sandwich, it can still put the brakes a little bit.
Oh yeah,
and I don't need that. I'm not Joe Rogan yet.
Yeah, but that's where it's at. That's where it's at. That's how you find the way out of it by when it hits the brakes, you panic, and then you find a way out. And sometimes that's where you find a punchline. Yeah. Sometimes not.
Sure.
You have to deal with the 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 are going to eat shit. 5 out of 10
it's
are going
almost
to make
like
it
being
through.
a baseball manager. I have my A string, my B string. So if I'm doing like a hot show and I want to work on a B, so there's different levels of bits that I can polish. Right. I'm not going to throw a D in there. It's prime time, baby.
Yeah, right. D is for 1 a.m.
D is for 1:40 a.m.
Right.
D's got no pressure. D's got a lot of potential.
Do you do Jeremiah's show?
I love that show. Yeah.
I'm doing that tonight.
Dude, that's the best.
Yeah.
I love shows where the audience knows the expectation is like you're a fly on the wall in the process.
Yeah, and
so
there's
it's less about
pre-recorded or pre-planned material. Yeah.
There's so much goodwill.
Yeah. Because
you don't get that when it's just like a show.
I've come up with 4 or 5 legitimate bits that have wound up on specials because of Jeremiah's show.
Yeah. It's almost like a stand-up float tank.
Yeah, it's a great little workshop.
All right, what's this idea? What's that?
And it's also because everybody knows that you're doing that, so it's kind of more fun.
And also, if you hit a dead end, that's funny.
Right.
Because they know they know the theme of the show.
Yeah. So I just wish he would do it more often. He's only doing it like once a month. Like, do it once a week, man.
I don't know. Maybe they know what their sweet spot is.
Yeah, I don't think they do. I think the sweet spot's once a week.
Yeah.
I think it's totally possible to do that show once a week.
Yeah. Yeah, I love those shows.
When was it the first time your parents saw you on stage?
You know what? This is so funny. This is this is like the last bit on my special. I talk about it. Like they've seen me once.
Once ever?
God. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you bomb?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
in the biggest way.
Oh
my God.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Do you want to hear the story?
Fuck yeah, I do.
Okay. So this is just a rehash of like the last thing. So the last thing I said, I closed my special with this. So I'm like 17. I'm like 17 or 18. I'm at college. There's a bulletin board, and it says like Apollo Amateur Night on Tour, right? So there's a flyer like the Apollo's going on tour, and you can audition. And
the Apollo Theater in
Harlem?
the
Apollo Theater. Yeah. So they're going to all these major cities, right? So I'm like, interesting. Especially I'm maybe a year in or a few months into stand-up. Like, this is going to be a great opportunity. Isn't it funny the level of delusion you have as a young comic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you're like, I'm ready. Yeah. They got to hear what I got to say. I've been doing this for a few months. So I take the little tab. I have it. I get all the info. I go there. It's in Seattle. So I go there to audition. I forget where they're holding the audition. It's this like theater or whatever. So I'm sitting. There's 342 people. Just like wait. It's like American Idol pretty much. And there's like a bunch of like older black ladies singing "I Believe I Can Fly" under their breath. Like just because they're mostly singers. So you just hear like, "See me running up and up, believe I can fly," and I'm just standing there like waiting to do my jokes later.
Oh my god!
And everyone's like do-re-meing. So finally, it's my time to go. So I go out there, I do my stand-up set, and it does well. Like it does genuinely well. It wasn't like oh fuck, let's feed them to the sharks. Like I did well. Like I made them laugh, you know. So I find out I get selected. I think I'm one of 11 who gets selected. So I'm like, sweet. And then I invite everyone. I'm like, Mom, Dad, everyone from school and shit. Oh yeah, everyone. It's at the Paramount Theater in Seattle. Have you been there?
Yeah.
What is that? 4,000?
It's a big place.
4,000, 5,000 people, something like that. Maybe 3,000, whatever. It's in the thousands.
It's
people.
a big place.
Yeah, it's one of our nicest theaters.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I invite everyone. And then
it's packed.
Oh, it's packed.
Oh,
come on.
Oh my god.
So I do the dress rehearsal. Blah, blah, go through the motions. Lady comes up to me. She's like, the producer, this great. The producer of the show thinks like you should do this bit before instead of your hip hop stuff. Like do this bit first. And it was like this bit where I was talking about being Afghan or something, you know? Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Like I'm so new. I just trust the producer. I'm like, I guess they know. So I rearranged my set just based on the producer's request. Comes night of the show, everyone's there, blah, blah, blah. It's my time to like, they introduce me, blah, 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 you know, please welcome Fahim Anwar. I come out. I'm like, hey guys, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, my name's Fahim. It's like an Afghan name, or like Middle Eastern name, Afghan to be exact. And he's like, boo, boo, boo. I'm like out there for maybe 20 seconds. They just start booing you? Boo, boo. It's such a interesting sensation to be booed by that many people. So just like it starts cascading, like boo, 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 boo. And I've seen Apollo. I know how it works. And you hear the and I'm like, all right, I don't need to get swept off. Like, I know how this works. So I get booed off.
You get booed off just from talking about being Afghan?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it just really sucked. Maybe it was because it was like close to 9/11 and I talked about being Afghan. Whatever. I get booed, you know? I mean, I'm sure it sucked balls too. Whatever I was about to say was going to like be so bad. So I was going to get booed regardless. But I lasted maybe 20 seconds. So I'm just like shell shocked. And then I'm just chilling in the hallway. There was a desk. There was like like an old school student desk where it's like L shaped and they have the basket. It's just in the stairwell for some reason. So I just sit in that chair. I felt like I was in a video game or something. Because that's not a human experience, really, that many people get to go through. So I'm just trying to make sense of what happened and the world and my life moving forward. It's a lot going on. Oh. It's a lot going on, you know? And then, you know, I get up, I gather myself, I go up the stairwell, I get my things from, you know, I have to see everyone else in the green, the worst. See everyone in the green room area, get my shit. I get in my car and I think I like drive home. My parents, they take a separate car, right? And then I hear the rest of the story from my brother. So they're all in the Dodge Caravan. My cousin Nilo, my brother, my dad, my mom. It's just silent on the car ride home. Like no one's talking. Because, I mean, you know, they saw what they saw. So no one's saying anything. And then obviously my dad's like was never thrilled about me doing stand-up to begin with, right? So he breaks the silence. He goes, well, there's no business like show business. And in hindsight, like, I think that's why when I want them to come out, I want it to be like such a polar opposite experience. And obviously I've come a long way from then, but I'm almost grateful that it did happen because, you know, when comics trade bomb stories, I fucking win every time. And for me to be so young, like 17, and come back from that means like there's really something like a fire in me, or like I was meant to do this, or I really love stand-up. Because that's not a pleasurable experience. to potentially think that could happen again, you know?
Now, they've seen you on television? Did they watch your special?
Yeah, they've seen me. Yeah.
Did they think your special was good?
Yeah, I think so.
So
I never know. Like, my mom will tell me, but I never know what my dad catches. And
when was the last time you worked in Seattle?
I'm trying to
Did you do the parlor? Is that
yeah,
open anymore? Is that going under? When did it go under?
Like a few months ago, I think.
Fucking A.
Yeah.
So the pool hall part's gone too?
I think so.
Fuck.
Yeah. You like to play there?
Yeah. It was a great gig.
Yeah.
You play pool and do comedy.
Oh, yeah. How
At the
funny.
same
I forget.
time,
Like,
for me?
That's your jam.
Oh, my God.
It's
Those
like
are
you
my
designed
glories.
the club.
Yeah. That's how I would design a club.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's weird. I mean, I could have them come out to another show.
What do they
when I come
have
to
there
Seattle.
now? What's the club?
I don't know. I think it's mostly no, they have Giggles or whatever in the University District. Or maybe it's called Laughs. It's called Laughs. It's where Giggles used to be.
So they only have like one comedy club? And all of
They have
Seattle?
Tacoma. They have Tacoma, you know.
That's crazy.
Spokane. But these aren't Seattle.
Fuck, man. Seattle used to be a scene.
Yeah.
That fucking Parlor Live was a great club. How did it go under?
Yeah.
Probably Brian Callen.
You think?
Yeah. No.
Just throw it.
I don't know why.
What if that became true? It's
Bert
like
Kreischer.
the man who broke the parlor.
You fucking ruined it, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when your parents come to see you, will they come to see you in L.A. or they come to see you?
I don't know.
in-
I haven't.
You haven't decided
I've put it
when.
on the back burner for. I mean, I guess if I do the Tonight Show. I mean,
Dude,
I've done
it's
2 late nights
almost
already.
20 years later.
I know. Yeah.
They've got to come see you live.
Oh, yeah. What should I do? I don't know.
Invite them to a show.
Yeah. I don't know what
And
show.
then pretend they're at the first show and then bring them to the second show.
Yeah, just to mentally prepare.
Yeah. You obviously have a little bit of a block. You're thinking about it. There's
Yeah.
not a block, but it's a thing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they saw you eat shit.
Yeah,
From
and
it.
especially when they were so anti that, and
Yes.
then
But you were right and they were wrong. This is how it works. I mean, my parents never yelled at me that I can't do comedy or I was wasting my life or that I'd be there with pimps and prostitutes. But
I mean, I love my parents. We have a great relationship. This was just kind of like one thing that was incongruent in the relationship. That's
almost
all.
no parents think their child is going to make it as a comedian.
Sure.
It is the most...
Yes.
It's the most impossible to imagine success business that you could ever think your kid's going to go into. No, there's no, like we were talking about stand-up, that none of this is written down.
Right.
We're talking about the principles of stand-up. There's no course you can take. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And any class is usually taken by someone who's not very successful at stand-up, for the most part.
Yeah.
I don't know of any successful...
It can give
Chris
you,
Rock's not out there teaching comedy classes.
It can give you the confidence to like jump off the cliff.
Yes.
But outside of that, you're not going to learn.
But here's the thing: all these principles that we're talking. I mean, think about. Look, comedy is obviously a viable art form in a large scale venue. I mean, I just got done doing 2 arenas this weekend, right? So we're talking about something that is right up there with music or even with sports. I mean, it's large scale, enormous people. Yet there's no real like pathway that's written down. There's no real principles of it that are universally assumed by all people who participate in the art form.
Yeah.
Whereas almost like if you learn music, you learn chords and chord
Yeah.
progression. You learn how to use your diaphragm. You learn how to sing and learn how to play instruments, and you learn how to make a chorus. And there's none of that for us.
I think it was just such a foreign. I can understand where they're coming from because it's such a foreign concept. If you get an engineering degree or you're a doctor, you do A, B, you get C. There's
Yeah.
a blueprint for it.
Yeah.
Stand-up is just so nebulous, or just like the arts in general is just sort of like, you can't tell someone what, like your path to success is going to be different than Ian's path to mine.
Sure.
And you kind of learn that as a comic as well early on, because I think there's a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, oh, like if somebody else gets something, you feel like it's an attack on you. But you do it long enough, you realize like, oh, everyone's journey is so different.
Well,
and not in a hippy-dippy way.
Yeah.
But like your relationships are different than mine. They're different. So everyone hits at different times.
Yep.
And it's not right or wrong. It's just life and nature, you know?
Yeah, and you're different than everybody else. You just got to concentrate on doing your best and figure out what you can learn from other people's success and failures, but don't think of it as your own success or failure.
Yeah. And eyes on your own paper.
Yeah, I wouldn't want my kids to do comedy. If my kids, like, it would be hilariously hypocritical. If one of my kids was like, I want to be a comedian, I'm like, listen, you're not going to be a fucking comedian. Stop.
Yeah, I think where I differ with me and my parents is if they want to do something in the arts, I'd be like, have at it. Like, I support you. I want it to work out.
Yeah.
But kind of have a foundation. Work on that. I don't want to send you to do communications for 4 years.
Yeah, like, but there's no school for it.
Yeah.
Stand-up school, here's the school. Have a shitty childhood. That's the best
But
school.
the thing is, I had a good shot. Yeah, I was well adjusted. I had maybe that's why it hurt so much.
Maybe.
Like I gave him everything.
Yes.
He still did it.
Yeah, that's funny. You might be one of the rare guys.
No, I think there's like a new breed where there's people. Obviously, there is
two
that.
More.
What? Just well adjusted.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is Pete Holmes like an even level-headed guy?
Please.
What about
Please?
Nick
Do you know
Kroll?
him well?
I don't know. Maybe I don't. But
fuck
look,
out of here.
Everyone is fucked up to some degree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's why they're comics.
Sure.
Yeah.
But no matter anybody you pluck off of Earth,
It's
fucked
fucked
up.
up.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is a universal truth.
But usually some kind of fucked up childhood is a prerequisite.
It helps. It's like the whole
fuel. It's fuel. It's like there's fighters that come from good childhoods too.
Yeah. I would have this, it's a dumb thought, but I would have it as a kid trying to do stand-up and not have to face this wall of, I don't know, my parents not wanting me to do it. I'm like, oh man, I kind of wish I had like a worse childhood or like not middle class, because then it wouldn't be questioned. It would just be like, yeah, of course. What else are you going to do?
Well, I was really healthy when I was young because I was a martial artist. I was competing all the time and I always worked out. And I always thought, man, if I was a drug addict, I'd probably be funnier. I really used to think that way because like the guys who did drugs, like Kinnison and Pryor, they had drug problems.
Yeah.
They were so
I feel
funny.
like, you've been doing it for a long time, so maybe you have a better perspective on this. I think like back in the day with the doing drugs and all that, part of that, did that help? Like, was it image? Like how, in terms of just seeing the comedy for what it is, was it part it being new, rock star stuff, drugs, so you didn't have to be as tight as say like nowadays because there's so many more comedians?
No.
Or was it still airtight?
There's wildness to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's wildness to it. Like, I think the funniest guy of all time is Joey Diaz. And
yeah.
one of the reasons why he's the funniest guy of all time is the wildness. Like, he's truly wild.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what's great is watching him like in the OR, especially in 2019.
Yes.
He's got the climate we're in.
Yeah. He don't give
You can't
a fuck.
tell. He doesn't know. It's like he came out of a time machine, or he's like Encino Man.
I know.
They just thawed him out and they just threw him onto the OR.
And people, they're horrified and so happy at the same time.
Yes, I think even the wokest people, when they're watching Joey, and there's just this energy, and people are laughing so hard, like your altruism can't break through that. You can't deny what's happening right now.
Right.
So it kind of makes you, I guess, reassess what you're supposed. Like, I shouldn't be laughing at this.
It's a weird time for comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But in that weird time, you're going to get some of the best stuff because it's like supercharged.
Yeah.
And it's like when it does get through. If you can cover all the bases and make your argument soundly and logically and also have it be funny.
I'll see Burr do that all the time too.
Yes.
And like Joey's just such a force of nature.
Yeah.
You don't have time to like think about, is this woke or is this knee jerk? You're just rolling.
Yeah.
Burr will kind of just like throw out this crazy premise that no sane person would be on board with. Like, especially guys on dates. Like, you just hear, some of these arguments or whatever.
Yeah.
He'll just throw it out there. And he won't steamroll over it. He'll just let it simmer. And that's my favorite. Because, like, he's methodically, surgically taking his time to proving the point of this argument.
Well, a lot of these arguments, I would suspect that he's having at home with his wife. His wife's a very powerful woman.
Yeah.
And she's feminist.
I mean, what a cool woman, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like, yeah.
So he has to formulate really well thought out arguments, I would imagine. I mean, maybe he would, but he's obviously thinking these through.
Yeah.
Like, he's not flippant about these points of view, these perspectives. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just love how he just throws like a piece of bologna on the kitchen room
but
table.
when he nails it, man, it's like so much more satisfying even than in the past, because it's like you're making your way through the rockiest stretch of the river.
And I think those are the most rewarding bits as comedians the longer you've been doing it. Like, I could be silly and get a joke, and sure, that's fun, but it's not that rewarding as if you have an argument like Burr or something where it's just counter to culture, and you can methodically. It's like going through the laser field. That's way more rewarding than just walking down the hallway.
Right, like Mission Impossible when all those lasers are protecting the diamond, and you gotta fucking limbo through these things.
Yeah.
And,
what kind of movie is that? If he just walks up, has an apple, and goes.
Right. Exactly.
And then the credits.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an interesting time to get these ideas out there, but you see by the reaction at the Comedy Store that people are looking forward to it because I think they feel the same way. Like, God damn it, everything's going so far. And so many people are so goddamn sensitive about so many different things. It's not about intent. They're just looking at magic words and buzzwords and topics that are off limits.
There's no such thing as context anymore or intention.
Yeah.
And you get that at the Comedy Store. And I think it's the last place people are talking this freely.
Yes.
Because I used to think, all right, we've been in a little bit of a resurgence with stand-up and like all the specials and all that. I'm like, when's it going to burst? I'm like, oh, cool. I'm going to get to miss 2 comedy bubbles. Sweet. But then...
I don't think so.
Yeah, but then it's proven wrong. Like, it's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
That's why. It was a bubble when it sucked. Let me tell you about the bubble of the 1980s. There was a bunch of people that had a kind of way of talking about things. So I got a cat in my room, and the mouse was like Wild Kingdom in my house. There was a way of talking. There was a comedy way of talking that these guys did. There were some guys that just were not insightful, and they just did comedy in a way that they had heard people do comedy. So they kind of just like mimic the sounds. It's like, you ever heard a band that sounds exactly like maybe Stone Temple Pilots or something like that, but they're not really? Like, they're close, but like, what's so weird? They sound so much like Stone Temple Pilots.
I don't know if you remember Gorilla Black.
No, what's that?
He sounded exactly like Notorious B.I.G.
No way.
Oh, yeah. It was insane.
Who the fuck is that?
Gorilla Black, yeah.
Really?
Like, when I heard it, I'm like, are we doing this? This is so crazy. Oh,
wow.
Yeah. It was insane.
Yeah, I watched a comic one night in 1993 or something like that on stage in Montreal at Just for Laughs. And he was basically doing a Richard Pryor impression. And I was like, what in the fuck am I seeing? It's like this guy was doing Pryor. I mean, everything about his set, he was doing Pryor. I'm like, this is so strange to see that people do that. Well, that was a part of the bubble. In the bubble, there was these guys who would wear the clothes they thought a comedian would wear and say the things. And there was so much work, and there were so many clubs, and there were so many Evening at the Improvs and all these different little showcases.
So anyone could get a piece.
Yeah, people got a piece.
If you just mimic the part.
Dude, there was a lot of people back then that were arrogant, that were working, and they were headliners, and they were arrogant, and they were fucking terrible. And I really enjoyed watching them fall off the face of the earth. You know, and I'll tell you some names afterwards, but the other names I was going to tell you. Yeah. But these people were doing comedy they weren't participating in an art form. They were mimicking. They were mimicking the people that were participating in the art form. Like, love him or hate him, Jerry Seinfeld's an artist.
Oh, I love Seinfeld, yeah.
I do too. But he's an artist. His style, I've heard criticisms that he's not deep enough, he doesn't talk about sex or anything dangerous, whatever. He likes what he likes. He likes to talk about he likes a certain style of comedy, and he's a master at that style. But he spawned so many babies, what Patrice O'Neill would call babies. Like, Patrice O'Neill would say, hey man, you got a lot of babies out there. There's a lot of people that are imitating you. You got babies. And there was a lot of, like, Dave Attell, a perfect example.
Oh yeah,
got a shitload of babies. There's a lot
Dane had a lot of babies.
Yes,
right?
Dane had
Mitch Hedberg. I remember Mitch had a lot of babies.
Yes, he had a ton of babies. Yeah, there's a few people that mimic. But during the 80s, there was a few innovative people and a lot of babies. It was like there was 10 babies to every one innovator. And you had these like fake headliners, and they would show up in town, but they had those premises that everybody had. They had those beats that everybody had. They talked in the same way. They didn't take any chances. They were shooting straight down the middle, and that was the bubble. And that all went away. And when that went away, those guys died off, and there was people that were left over. The people that were left over were the actual comics. The actual people that were good enough where people would repeatedly go to see them at clubs. They wrote a lot. They practiced. They were interested in the actual art form itself. And I was really fortunate that I started out in Boston, where Boston had a very high standard, due to Barry Crimmins, really, in particular.
Oh, that documentary was great.
He was a brilliant guy. Rest in peace, Barry. I love that guy. But he was one of those guys when he was nice to me as I got older, and, you know, I was terrified of him. terrified of him. Like him seeing me when I sucked.
Oh, really?
Because I knew it was
just because
he
meant so much to you.
Well, I knew what a high standard he had for comedy, and he was one of the main reasons why there was no hacks that were tolerated in Boston, and that everybody had to be original, everybody had to do good material, and everybody sort of policed each other, you know. And when you have a community like that, you get to see the art form flourish in a very good way. And we had a lot of like different people. They were different, but they were all like really high level. So we would get these guys that would come in from out of town, road guys that were babies. They were Seinfeld babies or different, and you would see how poor they looked when they were surrounded by these original murderers. So you'd have like guys like Steve Sweeney and Lenny Clark would go on stage, and then one of these babies would go up after him and just eat plates of shit.
Why are they going after?
They had a terrible system in Boston that was really mean, and it was designed to make national headliners bomb.
Oh, really?
Yes. They would pay them a lot of money to book them at a club, and they would book them on a show with 3 local headliners.
It's killers.
And these local headliners would just fucking straight up murder. And they would do all this local Boston stuff that made everybody excited. And then they would have one of these guys who was used to going to Cleveland. Hey, I was just in Indianapolis, had a great time, did a little comedy. That's what I do. I'm a comedian. And they would go up there and just eat plates of shit and get booed off the stage, and people would leave, and they would do it on purpose.
Just to teach them a lesson or something?
No, they were just mean. Like those guys never. First of all, those comics never left Boston. Okay, and they would murder almost every night, and they were all animals. They were doing coke, and they were drinking. They were fucking savages. They'd pay them in coke.
Really?
Like no bullshit. Yeah, Nick's Comedy Stop used to pay people in coke. Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't pay me in coke. I never did coke.
Right.
But I knew the whole deal. Everybody knew the deal. And so when these guys would come in from out of town, they would be angry at these guys. And they're like, who's this fucking guy? He's got Evening at the Improv. I don't have that show. He's on a fucking movie with Billy Crystal. Fuck him. And they would go on in front of those guys and light them on fire. Light them on fire.
So who's dictating this line? At the club or the comics?
Club. They're all on coke. Everyone's on coke.
So it was just fun for them? That was just fun.
Light them up. And they would do it on purpose.
That's kind of cool.
But some guys would survive. Like I saw Dom Herrera in that environment, but Dom murdered.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Dom murdered. So he would go there and he would talk about how strong the lineup was. You know, he's like, it's amazing. This is great. But he would go up and murder because he was a real comic. So Dom was there pre-bubble, during the bubble, post-bubble. He's a comic.
I mean, those are the best guys. Like,
yes.
Funny guys who take funny guys on the road with them.
Yes.
Because not everyone does that. But, you know.
People panic.
Yeah.
They want
like the best comics are like, I want someone funny too.
Yes. Yeah. I want a great show. You know, the reason why I take Ian or Santino I always took Joey Diaz before he got too big. You know, Joey Diaz is selling out the Chicago theater now. He's fucking murdering it. But all those guys, Ari and Duncan, I want to have fun. I want to be with comics. I want the show to be great. I don't want to be the only one that's funny. That's gross.
Right. And I think it's a way to discover new comics as well. Because like I was opening for Neil for a bit for his tour, for most of the dates, and it was so fun for me because like I'll headline and stuff, but I'm not a draw yet, so I need to have walk up for whatever the club I'm doing. Like they need to have a Comedy on State's great, you know, in Madison, Wisconsin. It's just, they have walk up. They just have a trust with the community. They all just come to shows. No matter
really?
What. Yeah, it's great. Or like Comedy Works in Denver.
I've never done Comedy on State. I heard it's great.
Yeah, it's really good. There's a theater right next door. You'd probably be doing that. Like it's such a great comedy town.
I did the theater last time I was there. There's actually a poster for that theater in the bathroom out here.
So it's fun to do that when they have a walk-up audience,
like the Comedy Works, like you said. Comedy Works in Denver. They have
if it's some
reputation.
rando club, like I'm not a draw yet. I'm like in purgatory. But the Neil thing was cool because they're all coming for Neil. They're theaters. I'm just doing 20 minutes, which is like I can shit that out. It's nothing, you know,
right?
Because I'm like headlining, so there's no pressure. They're there for Neil. I have a great set, and they're like, "Yo, you were funny," so you get like fans from his fans too.
Yes.
It's the best, and it's a great show as a whole.
Yeah,
and it's like we complement each other. So
you get to and he gets to introduce people to a funny comic.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful that he gets to do that, like pull a guy up and sort of take a little credit for like I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's great. That's where it's at, you know. But I don't think this bubble's popping. It's too fun. Yeah. It's too good. I mean, there's too many good people. As long as the art form is good, the bubble only exists and pops when it's a fake thing, like it's a Ponzi scheme. That's not really the case right now.
Yeah, there's so many good comedians right now.
And everybody's working hard.
Yeah.
You know, everybody realizes that there's a lot of pressure on you, so they're all like, that's like you were saying, like how many sets I do. Mm-hmm. That's why I do so many sets.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it. I do 2 sets a night, 3 sets a night, all the time.
And there's so many outlets now, too, which is kind of what's helping it not pop. Is
yes.
You have Netflix, you have these new streaming like HBO Max
Amazon's
and Amazon and Apple Plus.
Gaffigan's on here in a couple days, and he's got
it has
an
Amazon special.
Yeah, and so does Alonzo Bowden. His
cool.
Amazon special is coming out soon. And then there's a bunch of other people that have Amazon specials. I'm seeing people advertise them on their Instagram. So Amazon is putting together a bunch of specials now, which to me is very, very exciting because they have The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is one of my favorite shows. So I'm just psyched that there's a lot of new venues, and then there's new streaming things. Like, who knows? Maybe Hulu will get into stand-up. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe some of these other streaming services will get into stand-up. It's great for everybody, man. It really is. There's plenty. Or there's guys like Andrew Schultz. He just went straight to YouTube.
As a performer and another comedian, and I think everyone has varying degrees of, I think, angst that he had coming up, and I kind of felt that way as well. Like, people have varying degrees of how much the industry fucks with you. Yeah. Sometimes I feel in, sometimes I don't feel in. Mm-hmm. I do for certain things, and that was just really refreshing, just to take the power back. Yeah. And even seeing it happen with, I have so many peers in the game. Like, I've known Theo forever. Yeah. We've been puttering around town and doing shows and just, obscurity. And then doing the podcast and just seeing him take his own fan base and power back, and everyone wanting to fuck with him now. Mm-hmm. And like they weren't launching that guy. You kind of learn too that it's just monkeys picking stocks.
Well, a little bit. Fairness, Theo turned a corner like 2 years ago, where I remember watching him before, and I'm like, this guy's kind of funny. He's unique. But then 2 years ago, me and Adam were in the back of the room. I'm like, this motherfucker's turned a corner. Like, he was just killing it. Yeah. He was just really funny. But like a funny in a new way. Like, he had hit some new gear.
Like some of the words he uses to describe it. It's like
but he hit that gear, and then everything took off from there. It was a lot of it was just hard work. Yeah. Persistence, hard work, and just eventually it really clicked.
I think it was like a 1-2 punch. I think it was turning that corner, and then also just the word to the people, democratically, just his podcast and reaching
and
people.
Him doing other people's podcasts too.
For sure.
Because he's really good on podcasts. He's just fucking silly and funny, and then his own podcast where he just looks right at the camera and rants and talks about shit, and you realize like how his fucking unusual brain works.
Isn't it funny? Sometimes you just want to like figure out what this algorithm is or what he's doing, and you go, "No, that's just him."
You ain't figuring that out. I can't.
Yeah.
No, you're never gonna figure that out.
How would you think to call it that?
Never.
Yeah.
He's got Theo comedy
for sure,
but it's like what we were talking about earlier, where no one can really teach you how to do comedy. Like you got to figure it out, and no classically trained comedian, if there ever really was one, would ever teach you how to do Theo.
A classically trained comedian,
it would be like those babies.
Yeah,
it would be like those guys that are like fake Seinfelds or fake Gaffigans or whatever the fuck they are.
But the Schultz thing was really cool to see because he just did it on his own.
Yep. But here's the thing, and I wanted to bring this up with you, Jamie. Is he shadow banned on Instagram? Tell me what you think is going on. Because
I texted him when that happened because I looked it up.
Yes.
And his name showed up right at the top of my list.
But
he said other people were getting,
I wouldn't show up on mine.
Really?
Yes.
I think they changed the algorithm because I've noticed views.
Hold on. It could be what?
It could be. But you'll have to take it like a case-by-case scenario. Was the person that first sent it to him, are they already following him? Do they search his name a lot? Did they block anything he's ever done?
Well, people have told him, hey, man, I'm having a hard time finding your Instagram page. And so he asked me about it. And I said, what do you mean? And I go, I see you right now. You're on my feed. And he goes, no. If you go to search me. So I go, okay, let me search you. I go, whoa. I searched Andrew Schultz. Nothing. I mean, a bunch of other people, but not him. And he's got a lot of followers. Like, go. Let's do it right now. Yeah, Put it up on the screen. Okay. Put it up on the screen. Let's just do it in real time.
Well, this part of what I was saying is I follow him. So if you're not already following him, it might show up in a different way.
But I do follow him. Look at this, Fahim. Hi.
Hello.
Now, just write Andrew and give him some space. Write space.
I haven't gotten to Andrew
space.
yet. Well, it should have shown up. It should have shown up already.
Right, but just space and then type in his name.
I am. See, it's not coming up.
Right.
Oh,
that's
so
what I'm saying.
weird.
Now hit search.
Well, I don't think you can't search on the web.
Oh, on the web. But look, it's not showing up. You see Andrew Schultz fans.
Even when I typed in his actual account name, it didn't show up.
Oh, but hold on a second. What is that Andrew Schultz fans? What is that? Click on that. Right there. Below it. Below it. Below it. Below it. Keep going. Keep going. Are you blind?
Account.
There it is. That's right. Click on that.
I know, but it's not.
So it's his fans.
It's just a fan
have made
account.
165 followers.
Yeah, it's not him.
That's crazy. Right. No, I know it's not him. I'm just trying to figure out what it is. So just in that search, it's not showing up. And it wouldn't show up for me on my phone either. Now, it doesn't make any sense because what does he have, like 500,000 followers? How many followers does he have?
I can't find him. Hold on.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Like, he thinks he's being shadow banned.
Are they trying to like get some money out of?
He's got
No.
282,000.
282,000 people, and you can't find his page on Instagram.
Is it Schultz with a T or no? Just
No, ULZ. But it's not showing up. It's not showing up on mine either. Now, we might be being paranoid here, and it might be just something in the search algorithm that for whatever reason his thing isn't showing up. And he used to say Andrew Hezzy Schultz. I don't know why Hezzy. What does that mean?
Nickname of his, I don't know.
Okay. And maybe he thought that Hezzy was fucking him up, so he took Hezzy out of his name on his Instagram page. So it just says Andrew Schultz now. But even though, still, you can't find it.
Yeah, that's weird.
You have to type in Andrew Schultz all together with no space, and then you'll find him.
That's what I just did, and it didn't come up.
With no space?
Yeah, that's what I was just doing in front while you were asking me to type stuff, and I was typing that in, and it
so you
wasn't
did
coming
it
up.
with space and no space?
Yeah, that's when I did it to him. I was like, if you're typing in no space, that's where the issue is. If I type in all the way, it's showing up right away. And he said, well, I'm seeing that from people both ways. So I go, well, if that's what you're seeing, then I'll go out on a limb and sort of say,
does yours show up?
Someone is manipulating that search result, because you can manipulate search results.
Well, here's the thing. They do shadow ban people on certain social media platforms. This has been revealed through hidden camera conversations with people who are moderators or engineers or people that work behind the scenes on Twitter or Facebook, and they do manipulate algorithms, manipulate searches, and shadow ban people. And there's a lot of people, particularly conservative people, which he's not conservative. But what he is he's a raunchy comedian, and he might have done something that someone felt was not woke or what have you, and they want to slow down the broadcasting of his signal. That's entirely possible. I don't know if it's true, though. I would love to have a logical explanation that
as to why he's not showing up.
Yes, but he's complaining about it, that it's a shadow ban. Anyway, go follow Andrew Schultz.
Yeah.
SHULZ.
Yep.
SHULZ. Go follow him.
Yeah, I saw him in Montreal.
Just to tell Instagram shadow bans that we can get around you, bitch.
He's a marketing genius. It's just great to hear him talk about what he's doing and like how to get around it, and it's exciting because you forget as an artist that you have a lot of power. Like, you're everything. You're the product, and sometimes, especially in the old model, you just kind of waited to be anointed.
Well, he's got millions and millions of views on his special on YouTube. And if you stop and think about if that was on Comedy Central, which Comedy Central did want to give him a special, he probably would get like maybe 1 million people would watch it when it came out, and that would be the end of it.
I have a special, and I don't think people are watching it. Just YouTube is accessible. It can be in comedy jail. You can do a great special, and no one can find it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone has YouTube. Everyone can click on a link.
Everyone has YouTube.
Yeah.
And this was his logic. He was like, you know what? I'm just going to release the whole thing on YouTube. And look, he went straight from not selling out clubs to selling out theaters like that. And now he sells out everywhere, internationally.
And it's fun
amazing
from afar to watch the industry change.
Because
you just realize, because I think early on so much of your self-worth is put in these people, and you don't realize till later that, they're just heat-seeking missiles.
Yep. Yeah.
They don't, a majority of them don't have taste. It's just
whatever's
revenue.
hot.
Yeah.
Whatever's hot.
Can I get a pie of whatever this is?
Yeah, I mean, including hacks. I mean, there's a long history of them supporting hacks and thieves. It's just a thing where what they're trying to do is make money. You know, if you're an agent or a producer, I mean, there's no benefit in you supporting an artist that is not going to be commercially viable.
Yeah.
You have to find out like who's gonna pop, who's gonna be the next movie star, who's gonna be in the movies. You know, you have to figure that person out. And
what was it like when the Mencia thing went down? What was the climate like for you, say professionally, after that went down? Because he was at a different level at that time, right?
Yeah. He was more popular than me with comedy for sure. You know, I was doing Fear Factor back then, and I wasn't really working on the road that much. I really couldn't. You know, I was doing, 30 episodes a year plus, so 30 weeks a year of work, and I wasn't really enthusiastic about traveling when I was doing that.
Yeah.
I just I was exhausted. And then I was doing the store too. So I was mostly just working on my act and just doing stand-up, and they supported him because he was the one who was making the money. I mean, in fact, I left my agency because they wanted me to apologize to him. And then Louis wound up leaving them, and Attell wound up leaving them, and Swartzen wound up leaving them. Everybody left them right after that because they found out that they wanted me to apologize to him. Everybody in the industry knew what was going on,
Right.
but they wanted to turn a blind eye and make money. So did it hurt my career? Well, I stopped going to the store, but that didn't hurt me as much as it hurt them. It hurt the store because I told everybody. And then that place was a ghost town. I mean, it went from being packed when I was there because I would let them put my name up on the marquee and I was working for free.
Yeah.
That's how fucking stupid Tommy was. That fucking dummy. But then when, he got fired and I came back, it made it all worth it. The whole thing was, it was interesting because it could show you that if there was someone who was doing what Mencia was doing, that you can get away with it. And even with someone who was successful like me, like I got another agent like that. I mean, but my agent literally said I was going to have to apologize to him. I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind. I go, listen, not only am I not doing this, we're never going to work this out. I'll never work with you again because you're asking me to apologize to someone who is literally a vampire, someone who's stealing from the work of other artists. That's all he does. And you guys know it, and you guys are profiting off of this. Like, you're making a giant mistake, and I turned out it was correct. But it was interesting because even though it didn't hurt me financially, I got to see that they were trying to, because he wanted an apology.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're out of your fucking mind. I'm not apologizing to you. And as it kept getting, people became more and more aware. Other people started finding other bits that he had. Like, the real thing that sunk him was Cosby. Really funny now when you think about it now, but he had this like such obvious theft of a Cosby bit. I mean, he stole all the inflections and he switched it around a little bit, but people who work with him were trying to tell him to stop doing that bit because it was a giant famous Cosby bit, and he just insisted that he was going to do it. And when that bit got on YouTube, that and Mexican folks finding out he wasn't really Mexican, that was a fucking knife in the heart when they were like, what? Like, what? When they found out what his real name was, they're like, you got to be fucking kidding me. There was so much going on then, though. That was, he was really popular.
Oh, yeah,
he went from selling out these giant places and, kicking ass all over the country. And people knew him from the television show, and they thought he was hilarious.
I guess what's kind of cool about stand-up is that of all the art forms, stand-up has the most justice in it.
Now it does.
But
there's a lot of people who made it through the net back in the day.
Yeah.
They were just criminals.
I guess it was harder to know back then. There was no internet. It was just sort of like word of mouth, or you would hear stories.
Look, we all know that there's parallel thinking, and then there's even cases where you forget you heard something. I've done it. I've definitely
Usually we
done
hash it out, like a comic or something would be like,
for sure.
Okay, yeah, you can have it, or like we're all pals.
Right.
And it's bound to happen.
It's going to happen.
You just have the conversation. If you're a pro, you're like, all right, I don't need that bit. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's also people that are like, like you said that word, and that's the word that I say in my bit, and you're like, what? Like some people
are hypersensitive. It's almost like
delusional.
Yes.
Yeah. Some people get delusional. That's
like I talk about being in a relationship. So
oh yeah,
if you could stop doing that, I really appreciate it.
That's hilarious.
I broke up with my girlfriend recently too, so
yeah,
I own that.
Well, especially things that are current events, right? If they're like something like
fair game.
I can't believe you're talking about Trump. I do that whole Trump bit.
Yeah.
Like what? Are you crazy? I've seen these conversations.
I have a Fredo
before.
bit.
Yeah.
Can
Fredo.
you please not?
That guy's never gonna live that down. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
This is just brewing. Oof. This is just starting. He's never living that down. That's one. You know, I'll wreck your shit.
I'll wreck your
I'll
shit.
throw you down a flight of stairs.
Yeah. Was there stairs nearby, or would they have to go up them?
You have to go find some stairs.
Just you're not going to like the trip down.
That's a weird thing to say to someone. I'm going to throw you down a flight of stairs. It's like you want to hurt them, but you want the gravity to do all the work.
Yeah, that's true. So it's not that tough.
It's lazy.
Yeah, he has all that potential energy once he gets up there.
Yeah.
And you just knock him over.
Right. That's funny. You're looking at it like an engineer.
Yeah, I've got to use it somehow. My dad's so proud that I pulled that out of the bag.
Do you use your engineer training at all in your stand-up? Is there anything that you say?
I think one quality I can take away from all the engineering schooling, like I'm not doing formulas and equations and all that, but I think it's just a manner of which I approach things and time management. I'm wired a certain way where I can be studious on my own. I'm not like smoking weed on the couch and like I'm a muse or I'm a vessel. God's
right.
Like okay. What do I want to do? What are my goals for this year? Let's say, or how many sets do I have? What am I working on for this set? So I'm just a little industrious. It's taught me, and also when it comes to bits, like I see them in a certain way. Like the way I get the bits is very organic, and that's what I like about it. Is that it's not clinical or anything. It's just magical how I think of something, and I'm grateful for that.
Do you give yourself time to think? Do you like specifically do things like go on walks or anything where you
not specifically, but what I found is one of my favorite things to do is to go to a diner, sit in a booth, have breakfast, have coffee, and then you keep on refilling it. And I'm on my phone and I'm on Twitter and Instagram, and my mind's just kind of, and I'm listening to music. I love music. So I'm just scouring Spotify and Hype Machine just for new music.
Hype Machine? I don't know what that is.
So that's how I find music, like Hype Machine and also Spotify. Hype Machine is this blog aggregate. So there's music blogs, right? Mm-hmm. There's one called like Acid Stag that I like a lot. So you can follow a blog, and they'll post songs every day. Maybe they'll post 6 songs a day. This website, you can follow different blogs, and it's like following someone on Instagram or something. So you look at your feed, and you get to hear all the songs your favorite blogs have posted within the website. And there's an app on your phone too. And these are kind of underground songs. These aren't top 40. So it's a way to hear great music that you wouldn't hear on the radio, and they're not any less great. There's this whole subculture and genre of music that is magnificent, but it's not on top 40, so people don't really know about it. So Hype Machine's a great way to get some cool tracks off the beaten path and Spotify.
That's cool. I've never heard of that before. That's interesting.
Hype Machine. So music plays a big part with my comedy. Yeah.
Hype Machine.
Yeah,
what's
Hype
popular
Machine.
now? Paco Versailles.
This is like their
Shangri-La.
top 40, so even this is a little poppy for me. I'll have certain blogs.
That's poppy?
I like finding... Yeah, it's
Munya,
like...
Dove?
Yeah.
That's poppy?
I mean, for this type of music, yeah. Whatever makes the popular
Durante?
list.
Hold on, stop.
Yeah, you're not going to know.
Scroll back up, please. Durante Maya? That's poppy? Who the fuck knows any of this music? There's Childish Gambino. I know who that guy is.
If you're like a teen or early 20s, you'll know this stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So I just love listening to music, drinking coffee, and on my phone, and I'll just get these ideas. Mm-hmm. But also just living life. I'll be walking around, and I'll get an idea, jot it down.
Well, you don't have a day job, which helps.
No.
That really helps collect material, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I think comics have to be amused, and you have to be experiencing just life. If you're working all the time, like...
It was harder when I was working at Boeing, because I had that mental... fatigue of just working on parts and all that and computational stuff. So I'm not thinking about bits when I'm calculating.
Sitcoms suck it out of you too.
I can see that.
Or not. Because you think that, it's just like, I didn't really work on my act that much during the day anyway. Now I have a job doing acting. I'll probably get just as much material. No, you won't. You're going to be wrapped up in whatever the fuck you're doing. And then when you go to do stand-up, you'll be like, oh yeah, time to do stand-up. Now I'll think about it.
Yeah.
But you really need that time to be just free to think.
Yeah.
It's kind of crucial to the creative process.
I didn't think about that, but that's true. Because those other jobs, you have mental focus that you're not dedicating to writing bits.
Right, yeah.
Where I'm at a diner and my mind's just floating around.
It seems like you're not working. Like someone on the outside would be like, you're not even working. I might come up with a gem that might be my next closing bit.
Yeah.
That is working.
Just randomly.
Yeah.
Because you gave yourself that time.
Yeah, like you just are watering the grass and a mushroom pops up.
Even with me, I think there was a big breakthrough in just accepting that I'm an artist because, my parents didn't want me to do it for so long, and it was this dirty thing, and it was always...
Pimps and prostitutes.
Pimps and prostitutes go to the club. So stand-up and comedy I was like a vampire feeding. It was just this thing that I do over here, and I want to do it, but it was always different than what I'm supposed to be doing. It was always on the side. It was like a hobby type, or there was a division within my mind. But once I left Boeing and I was doing it full time.
What was the impetus? Like, how'd you make the decision?
Ideally, I always had this pie in the sky scenario that would happen for me to leave Boeing. I would think, all right, if I got to the point where I'm doing engineering and stand-up, I want to get to a point where it's glaringly obvious that engineering is holding me back from this other path, and I have to make the jump. So I needed that to happen. And then I think enough things happened where I kind of had that situation. I booked this acting thing. I booked a role on Chuck, NBC's Chuck. I was still working at Boeing. It was like this huge guest star.
I forgot about Chuck.
Yeah. So I would do these things towards the end of my tenure at Boeing. I had a manager, and I would get auditions. So I would duck out for lunch. And I'm in Long Beach, and I would drive up to Hollywood and do an audition. And
wow. How long would you be gone for?
That one, I would like do a combo. I'd say lunch and doctor's appointment. Yeah. And then I would take off. I would come in early and leave early if I had an audition. But I had to be very strategic about what audition. I can't be, because I have a day job. So this one, I went out for Chuck, and then I auditioned, and then I got it. It was this huge guest star, and I'm still working at Boeing. And they need me for 8 days. I have a day job. So I said I had a family emergency in Seattle. I have to go back home. And they're like, oh, okay. But I was just in Burbank shooting Chuck. So I'm just shooting. And then I go back to work.
And people see you on TV?
No, luckily there was enough of a lead time where that wasn't coming out for a long time.
So you quit?
No, not yet. So I just thought like, okay, cool. Like I can keep on being an engineer. And then a couple things happened.
Did anybody notice you on Chuck at work?
But the thing is, that happened when I left Boeing. So it aired after I had left.
Oh, how much lead time was there?
Quite a bit. Maybe like 6 months. It was towards the end.
Okay.
And so no one knew I did stand-up. And the beauty of it was when I entered the workforce of engineering, everyone was substantially older than me. They were like in their 30s or...
They don't know about Hype Machine.
Yeah, they don't know about Hype Machine. So it wasn't second nature to be like, what's your MySpace? Or because Jig would have been up immediately.
Yeah.
So there was no... Social media was not second nature with coworkers. So there was a big enough generational gap. So I was able to, for 3 years, just no one know anything. So I do the Chuck thing, and then I got really far in stand-up. NBC has this Stand Up for Diversity initiative every year. You do like a stand-up competition thing from different cities, and then they have a final showcase. So I got like second on that. So I got some college gigs out of it. I got quite a few college gigs. And then I booked this show on MTV called Disaster Date, which was like boiling points for dating. They had a cast, and I was one of the cast members, and you would just go on dates with friends, would set up their friends with dates, and they would be like, this is the things that she hates, and you would just be the worst date ever. And you see how long they last on the date. So they needed me for 3 months. 3 months. Fuck, what do I do? Yeah, 3 months. So this was kind of that situation where I'm like, fuck, all right. I just did Chuck. I have some college gigs lined up. This MTV show needs me for 3 months. I gotta do this. Oh, well, I didn't do that yet. I tried to take a leave of absence because I planned on coming back. I was like, I need, something came up. Can I be gone for 3 months? And they're like, no, you can't do that. And I'm like, are you sure? I just kept on trying to finesse it, and they wouldn't let me. And then I was reading about unemployment and stuff. And I read that you couldn't quit. You had to get fired.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. So I wrote, on my last day there, I wrote an email just like, hey guys, I'll be gone for this 3 months. I plan on returning on this day. And then I just went incommunicado. Like I didn't pick up any phone calls. If I was going to get fired, I wanted to get fired by them.
Right.
Because I didn't want them. I didn't want to be on the books that I quit.
Right.
For some reason, my engineering brain is like, this is great. I'll get them on a technicality. They'll fire me and I'll get my unemployment if I need to. So I leave Boeing. I'm shooting the show for 3 months. And then eventually I get like a termination letter in the mail from Boeing.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, yes. Yes. But then it turns out, I could have collected unemployment from the MTV show. So I didn't even have to go out that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was fine.
So
it wasn't. Yeah.
Ari used to collect unemployment for...
Dude, he was like my guiding light in that regard. Because early on, especially when I left Boeing, and the MTV thing comes and goes. I do 2 seasons of it, and then... But that's not like it's not like a rock solid thing. And Ari would show me the ropes. He'd be like, no, you just collect unemployment from an acting job. You get an acting job, and then you get unemployment. That's how it fucking works.
Yeah.
And he taught me how to do it and all that.
I've never heard of anybody getting unemployment from acting gigs.
Yeah,
Ari would do a commercial.
That's how it works. It's like,
unemployment.
because you pay into it and all that. It's all on the up and up. It's just part of an actor's, I guess, requirement or necessity of an actor is being available.
Yes.
So if you book a commercial, like a Toyota commercial, let's say, you make 30 grand or 20 grand, whatever, in that chunk, you've made enough money in that quarter to apply, because you're paying into it with your thing. You have to hit a certain amount, and then you're eligible. There's tiers of how much money you get for unemployment. Then you're eligible for X amount of dollars every 2 weeks or whatever. And that helped me keep afloat for like a year. And then I got to the point where I didn't need it. I had enough steady work coming in. But that was
when did
the
you tell your
moment.
parents?
I thought that they would take it worse than they did, but I think we had been at odds for so long that what I've noticed is you can't stay at an 11 your whole life.
Right.
Yeah. So I think they had to know this day was going to come eventually, because I would talk about it. That was the plan the whole time. I guess they just never thought that it would come to fruition.
Now, when you quit, how long did you wait, or when you got fired, how long did you wait before you told them? That you don't have a day job anymore. And your degree is useless.
It was around Christmas. It was around the holidays, so we were at my aunt's house, and then I told them. But I was surprised. Like, it went over better than I thought. Yeah,
Really?
I was surprised.
What did you say? All the good things you're getting?
Yeah. Obviously, come on.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, I quit and I'm gonna figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
But I like
Might
having
come to you guys for money later.
But I'm really proud of that. In this whole adventure, I've never asked my parents for money, and I think that's a win.
Yes, that's a huge win. That's a huge win.
Yeah, and I hope that they kind of notice that through the tough times. That's a sign it's going well.
They should figure that out. That's a giant win.
Yeah, but I mean, I just want to tell people, if they have the similar path, that you don't. There's this romanticized version of being an artist where you just pack up all your things, I'm coming to LA.
Yeah, man.
And like, no, I got to be 100% of my art.
Yeah.
You can have a plan. Do you want to set yourself up for success, or are you trying to?
Bro, are you an artist or are you an engineer?
Yeah,
gotta choose.
Be both. There's a lot of hours in the day.
Fuck that.
You're a prime example of that. It's amazing all the things you do. There are so many hours in a day, and it's such a cop out to be like, I've got to be all in it. I got to live and breathe my art. Otherwise, I'm going to be a hack. No, be methodical. Set yourself up for success.
Well, I think you have to be disciplined.
Disciplined, for sure.
I think it's very important. Yeah. You can still be artistic and disciplined, contrary to popular opinion.
You can.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful not to lose yourself. Once you come to LA, how many people do you know who come out here with a particular plan to like be an artist or a writer, and they're at fucking birthday parties every day? Like, when you come to LA, you can go to someone's birthday party at a bar every day.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's so many. It's everyone's birthday every day. Dude, this town's so big.
Yeah, that's true. So you get sucked up in the partying life.
You'll see it too. Some artists just get, like, they'll go down this networking rabbit hole, and they have no tangible, and they never want to do a bad show. They just want to do the best shows. And they don't just focus on getting good at stand-up comedy. It's just, I'm going to this party, so-and-so's here. And they have nothing.
Do you ever envision a time where one of us, or maybe a collection of us, writes down all these things?
What do you mean?
And makes like some sort of a guidebook to stand-up comedy? I really think someone could benefit from it. I mean, it really is the only art form that, as we were saying before, is a viable art form on large scale that doesn't have any
handbook or
nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, every fucking book about comedy, like how to do comedy, is terrible.
It's the worst, yeah. You know what's weird? You know what's scary? There's all these formulas. Mm-hmm. I think podcasting has taken some of the mystique out of it.
Yes.
I think
it's also created a bunch of fans of the process too.
Sure.
Like, I've talked to people that have like come up to me at the Comedy Store and said, "Hey, I saw you first do that bit a year ago, and then I watched it change, and then when it became on your Netflix special, I was like, holy shit. Like, look at it. It's kind of cool to see it grow and become viable."
Yeah, I think it's cool that there's an audience for that, or that they value that, because I think it's easy to assume the end consumer just wants to see the finished product.
Yeah.
But comedy fans are so savvy now, they want to see that process, and they feel like they're let in. Like, oh, cool. Like, it's not a magic trick anymore.
No, it's different. Yeah, no, I agree. Listen, man, I'm glad I got you in here.
Thanks for having me, dude.
My pleasure, brother. My pleasure.
Yeah.
And it's always cool seeing you at the store. You're a funny motherfucker.
Likewise. Thanks, man.
And I wish you all the best. So tell everybody what your Instagram, what is the...
It's Fahim Anwar. So just my name.
Twitter, same.
Fahim Anwar. And then I have a special on Amazon called There's No Business Like Show Business. So I want people to watch that. I did
your
2 years
special's
ago.
on Amazon.
Yeah, but it was acquired, so it wasn't like an original. I did it for CISO.
Back
in the day. Everyone knew that was going down. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Thank you very much, man. This was fun.
Thank you, dude.
Bye, everybody.